y'all. They are deadlocked on count 1, which is the RICO charge. So count 2 is the Gretsch trafficking of Cassie, and then count 3 is the Mann Act transportation of Cassie. Count 4 is the Gretsch trafficking of Jane, and 5 is the Mann Act transportation of Jane. They are deadlocked on count 1, saying that the people who are stuck on both sides of unanimous agreement. Now, the judge is suggesting giving them a modified Allen charge, and this is basically reminding them of the importance of reaching a unanimous verdict and also their duty to be willing to listen to each other and explore each other's viewpoints. This is a way to
Hold on, I'm gonna start this over because I think it was skipping. So I'm gonna start this over right here,
y'all.
and
They
let's
are
go here.
deadlocked on count 1, which is the RICO charge. So count 2 is the Gretsch trafficking of Cassie, and then count 3 is the Mann Act transportation of Cassie. Count 4 is the Gretsch trafficking of Jane, and 5 is the Mann Act transportation of Jane. They are deadlocked on count 1, saying that the people who are stuck on both sides are not moving their decisions, and they cannot find a way to come to a unanimous agreement. Now, the judge is suggesting giving them a modified Allen charge, and this is basically reminding them of the importance of reaching a unanimous verdict and also their duty to be willing to listen to each other and explore each other's viewpoints. This is a way to convince them to continue to deliberate, to not give up without it sounding so coercive. The prosecution and the defense want the jurors to continue deliberation. They do not want this to go in and they'll not have a decision. Y'all, I don't know if this is for guilty or not guilty, but I did not expect a decision this fast for a RICO charge. Soon as I have some more information, y'all, I will let you know.
All right, everybody come on in and make sure to hit the like button, hit the thumbs up button. Everybody come in and hit the thumbs up button and drop your city in the chat. Let me know where you at. Drop your city in the chat. Let me know where you at. Let me know where you are living. Drop your city in the chat. I'm on live early in the morning, so a lot of people are probably going to come in that don't know me. So I want to introduce myself. I am Mr. Let Go. I am a coach. I help people deal with their emotional attachment issues. And the reason why I'm talking about the Diddy trial, because this man, I'm not saying he's a victim, he's a terrible person, but altogether, he actually fits the avatar of a traumatized young man that has been traumatized by his parents. So because of that trauma, because of what his mom did to him, because he lost his father at an early age, not blaming anybody in particular because Diddy is a piece of crap, but we always have to look at what happened to us in the past, and what happened to us in the past can actually dictate our future if we don't fix it. And I am Mr. Let Go, and that's what I specialize in. So drop your city in the chat. Let me know where you at, and let's get it. And we're gonna talk about yesterday, what happened yesterday, and today to catch everybody up. And say good morning in the chat. Say good morning. Good morning to everybody. Say good morning in the chat.
They're only finding Diddy guilty of trafficking Cassie. Now, hear me out before y'all start going off. In order for that count 1 RICO charge to stick, they have to find him guilty of at least 2 out of the 8 predicate acts. Those are bribery, arson, kidnapping, witness tampering, forced labor, drug distribution, trafficking, and prostitution. All right, now counts 2 through 5 are the prostitution and trafficking charges for Jane as well as for Cassie. So if they had found him guilty on all of 2 through 5, that would automatically means that the RICO charge will stick because that would be the 2 predicate acts that is needed. However, they are deadlocked on the RICO, which means they all believe 1 is on there, but the second one, they don't agree with it. What I'm thinking they're stuck on is that bribery charge because there was somebody to testify about the video and said that they got paid to make that video disappear. They also saw that Cassie sued the hotel for making it disappear. And in one of their jury questions that they sent since deliberating, they asked about the Intercontinental Hotel again. I feel like that's what they're stuck on for the RICO charge to stick. But as far as all the rest of the charges with Jane, I feel like they're not sticking at all.
All right, good morning. Everybody say good morning in the chat. Say good morning in the chat. What's going on, Eric? What's going on, UG? What's going on, Ronnie Wood? What's up, Cass? What's up, Kimberly? Ken, Ronnie, what's up, Rudy? Rudy's always in the building. Shout out to Rudy. And Marie, Janet, what's up? What's up? What's up? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Next, both sides asked the judge to push. The prosecutors requested a modified Allen charge. The classic, go back and re-examine your views.
So an Allen charge is simply the judge telling everybody to don't give up, don't let this be a hung jury, and go work it out. I don't know why that's called a charge, but that's what that is in a simplified way.
Defense said that the Allen charge is too heavy-handed right now and advocated for more gentle language. The judge returned to the bench and weighed wording from both teams. The final message to the panel delivered on record was, I received your note that you have reached verdicts on counts 2 through 5, but not on count 1. I ask at this time that you keep deliberating. This means that the jury is decided on 4 counts, and the verdicts are sealed until all counts are done. Racketeering conspiracy is still divided. And the judge could revisit an Allen charge if they stay deadlocked. Verdict watch continues, but drop your prediction below. What do you think the other 4 verdicts is? And what do you think the split is on count 1?
Let's see. All right. So y'all good. What's going on, CJ?
Stepped out of the courtroom, and there is a major development in the Diddy trial. The jury has reached a verdict on count 2, 3, 4, and 5, but they tell the judge they are unable to agree on count 1, the RICO charge. The note reading,
hit the like button as y'all come on in.
Opinions on
Everybody hit the like button. Everybody hit the like button. Hit the like button as y'all come in. Come on and hit the like button.
Both sides. For recap, that means they have reached a verdict on the sex trafficking charges of Cassie and Jane, and both transportation to engage in prostitution charges. The note came in at 4:05 p.m. and is the second note of the day. The jury has been deliberating since 9 a.m. this morning. In the first note, they asked for transcripts of Cassie's testimony regarding the Intercontinental Hotel attack, as well as the incident at the Cannes Film Festival, and also a freak-off with the male escort that testified Daniel Phillips. They also asked for Daniel Phillips' testimony regarding a freak-off at the Hotel Essex. Right before this note,
Eric says RICO is a far reach for the prosecution. Why do you think that's a far reach? I think it's extremely technical and difficult to just come to a unanimous decision with. But why do you say is a far reach? Is it because the last time you ever heard of RICO was with mob bosses or whatever? I can understand that, but why do you think it's a far reach? Because it's usually with the mafia, or what?
Opinions on both sides. For recap, that means they have reached a verdict on the sex trafficking charges of Cassie and Jane, and both transportation to engage in prostitution charges. The note came in at 4:05 p.m. and is the second note of the day. The jury has been deliberating since 9 a.m. this morning. In the first note, they asked for transcripts of Cassie's testimony regarding the Intercontinental Hotel attack, as well as the incident at the Cannes Film Festival, and also a freak-off with the male escort that testified Daniel Phillips. They also asked for Daniel Phillips' testimony regarding a freak off at the Hotel Essex. Right before this note came down, the mood was light. The attorneys and also members of the press were hanging out in and around the courtroom. Around 4 o'clock, Mark Agnifilo walks into the courtroom and says that he's just bored. But then his expression quickly changes when he gets an email. I noticed he looked at his phone, so I asked him, did you get an email? And he said, yes, there's a note. And within 10 minutes, the courtroom was flooded with attorneys from both sides, Diddy's family, members of the press, and also spectators. And you could tell it was something big because immediately Diddy's attorneys formed a football-style, just all 8 of them standing in a circle around him while he sat in the middle. They had concerned looks on their faces, even a little nervous. And the conversation was intense, a lot of just head shaking. The judge walked in 30 minutes later and read the note out loud. And then he asked attorneys from both sides how they would like to respond. Immediately, lead prosecutor Maureen Comey jumps up and says that they propose a modified Allen charge. The Allen charge is basically a special instruction that the judge can give a jury, asking them to go back in there and re-examine their opinions and try harder to reach a unanimous decision without coercing anyone.
All right, so hold on real quick. As y'all come on in, drop your city in the chat. Let me know where you at and hit the like button. I gotta play this commercial. I know y'all want to watch these videos, but I have to play this commercial because YouTube just changed their guidelines, and they said if I want to have my card game at under this video, because I have card games, I have to play the commercial super early for YouTube to pick it up. So I know y'all want to watch these videos, but I have to play my commercials, not a lot of them, but I had to play my commercials in order to satisfy YouTube's guidelines. All right. So give me 1 second. I have to play the commercial. I know y'all want to come on in and watch the Diddy stuff, but I have to play the commercials because of YouTube. I usually play the commercials a little later on. Everybody packs in here, but I got to play it super early. So here we go.
Up at a coffee shop and play this fun dating card game. We'll have fun and see if we're compatible all at the same time.
Ooh, what's the name of the game?
It's called Deeper Discussions.
I'm down.
Okay. Hey, how about we meet up at a coffee shop and play this fun dating card game? We'll have fun and see if we're compatible all at the same time.
Ooh, what's the name of the game?
It's called Deeper Discussions.
I'm down.
Okay, meet you at 6.
Fellas, buy this card game. Ladies, buy this card game. Buy about 2 or 3 card games. The main reason why people can't stay together isn't because they don't like each other no more. It's actually because their present family issues come up or their past family issues come up. But when you play Deeper Discussions, you'll be able to understand a person's family issues up front.
This game can be played with either 2 people or an entire group. So have fun.
Question number 1. Name a time when money was the main factor why a relationship went bad.
Deeper Discussions Dating Edition. Again, these cards are good for vetting a potential boyfriend,
Candidate.
a potential girlfriend, a potential husband, a potential wife. The texture of these cards are so soft and silky, by the way. Like
They ain't gonna get
really
wore out.
durable.
A dating card game for introverts who have a hard time asking the much needed compatibility questions. Deeper Discussions, the card game.
And just for the record, I have a 3-pack bundle that the link that is in the chat, the link that is pinned at the top of the chat, click that link for those who have never bought my card games. Just click the link, check out what I got. I got 2 card games and a course that's in a 3-pack. So all I ask you to do is click the blue link that is in the chat. Just check it out, see if it's something you want. This card game right here has 81 cards in it, and it's meant for men and women, and you can use it to vet the opposite sex or play with your family members, because this card game is not just a dating card game. It's meant to help men and women understand the other person's, I would say, pathology, because we all have a certain pathology, and that pathology comes from how we grew up. Our mindset, our attachment style, our belief system, all comes from how we grew up and our pathology. So this card game helps you understand the other person's pathology. And once you understand their pathology, you know where they're actually going to go and how they're going to treat you in the future and the present. And this card game right here is my mother-daughter card game. It's called Like Mother, Like Daughter, for any woman that wants to build a better relationship with her mother, or a woman that wants to build a better relationship with her daughter. This actually will help you with that. And this right here actually has 2 card games in one, where you have a mother deck and a daughter deck. So you can give it to your mother, or you can give the deck to your daughter, and y'all can actually have your own game, and y'all can play the game with each other. So you have your questions and she has hers. All right, so back to the video. Hit the like button, y'all. Hit the like button.
Suggested that he remind the jury that if they can't come to a unanimous decision, that it may lead to a mistrial. But the defense didn't want to go that far. They just wanted the judge to tell the jury to keep deliberating, that it's only been a day and a half, and that they didn't give it their best shot. But both sides did agree that they did not spend nearly enough time deliberating to say that they're gridlocked. The judge also brought up another issue, that the court is closed on Thursday and Friday, and wanted to tell the jury that if they don't reach a decision, that they have 2 options, that they can all agree to come back on Thursday, July 3rd, and even though the court is closed, the judge would try to work some things out. or return Monday, July 7th. Both sides didn't have an issue with the jury returning on Thursday, July 3rd, but Mark Agnifilo asked the judge to give them those options only at the end of day tomorrow. His concern was that they would feel the desire to reach a verdict faster, just to get out of there.
Right.
And per the
I agree.
defense's
I agree.
request, the judge brought the jury back out into the courtroom so that he can reply to their note.
Let's talk about the question the jury asked the judge. If someone asks for a drug and you give it to them, is it still distribution? The answer is yes. The elements to this question say nothing about what the other person does. If you give it to them, you're distributing. Drug trafficking is not a separate crime here. It is an element of racketeering. The only reason why they're considering drug trafficking or drug distribution, that's not hard to say, is because it's an element of racketeering. Now, check this. In the list of elements, because when they go through the jury questionnaire, I'll show it to you, it's not just guilty or not guilty. On racketeering, it's guilty or not guilty, but also then a list of, I believe it's 10 elements that they have.
And this is the part how I can easily see that they're hung up, because it's so many elements to the RICO charge. So Eric Younger comes back and says, criminal enterprise consists of at least 2 or more people acting in concert. This law was made to break up the mafia so that it will not be organized. When a single person commits a crime, his comment stops right there. So even though I understand what you're saying, but his next person is Christina Coram. So even though I understand that you're saying that, but the other person is Christina Coram. That's the criminal enterprise. All you need is 2 people. That is Christina Coram. And for whatever reason, Christina Coram is not, or does not have to, or does not want to. Well, you don't have, if you get subpoenaed, you don't have a choice. But for whatever reason, they did not subpoena Christina Coram. And I don't exactly know why, but that is the criminal enterprise, him and Christina Coram. In virtually every last one of these scenarios that I can show you, because I got all the videos, Christina Coram was there in almost every one of these lawsuits where Diddy did this or Diddy did that. Christina Coram is the one who's handing him the stuff. So that's all I'm saying. All right, so let's go back to what he just said. It's easier to prosecute an individual than in its layers to a group. Okay, gotcha. I understand what you're saying. Everybody hit the like button, everybody hit the like button, everybody hit the like button.
Drug trafficking is not a separate crime here. It is an element of racketeering. The only reason why they're considering drug trafficking or drug distribution, that's not hard to say, is because it's an element of racketeering.
The RICO,
now, check
racketeering.
In the list of elements, because when they go through the jury questionnaire, I'll show it to you, it's not just guilty or not guilty. On racketeering, it's guilty or not guilty, but also then a list of, I believe it's 10 elements that they have to say, was this proven or not proven? Those predicate crimes. It's 8. It's kidnapping, arson, bribery, witness tampering, forced labor, sex trafficking, transportation for engaging in prostitution.
Okay, look at this list right here. What do y'all think in the chat is who? Okay, everybody list what they think Diddy is guilty of. Everybody right now, you see this list right here? I want everybody in the chat watching, look at this list and tell me in the chat how many counts of racketeering is Diddy guilty of. Mr. Slap Clown says he's guilty of all of them. But look, y'all, you got kidnapping, arson, bribery, witness tampering, forced labor, trafficking, transportation, which is the trafficking also, and possession. All right, so Trish says 0. Wait, what? If y'all don't get these damn likes up, Hold on. Somebody just said we ain't got. Hold on, we got to stop for a second. Can y'all hit the like button? The number of likes that somebody just told me in the chat is atrocious. Y'all don't like me? Can y'all hit the like button? And TikTok, can you please hit the screen? Tap the screen. But can y'all please hit the like button? There's almost 300 people in here and ain't nobody hit the like button. Come on, y'all. So we're gonna wait a second. So 2 things I need y'all to do. 1, please hit that thumbs up button because this is crazy. Can y'all please hit the thumbs up button? And the second question is, I need y'all to share your opinions about this list of charges. List the charges that you think Diddy is guilty of. Some of y'all said 0 charges. Some of y'all said all the charges. But it's kidnapping, arson, bribery, witness tampering, forced labor, trafficking, transportation of the person, and possession. Which one do y'all think Diddy is guilty of? And please hit the like. We got to get these likes up. Everybody, take a second out of your busy morning to hit the like button. Golly. So we're going to do this. We're going to keep this up just a second. I want y'all to stay, hang out or whatever, but y'all got to hit these likes, please. And thank you. And Facebook, same thing with y'all. I need Facebook to hit the like button. Y'all are tripping. Please hit the like button. We are super undernourished. We are malnourished. Brown Sugar, what's going on? Good morning. So Jerome says not guilty of everything. None of it. He's not. Okay. So a lot of y'all are saying none of it. Guilty of all, RICO. All right. Maybe possession. Okay. This is my opinion on this. Are y'all still hitting the like button? Y'all hit the like button. This is my opinion. And this is just my opinion. I think Diddy is guilty of bribery and really bribery and forced labor. That's my opinion. I would choose bribery and forced labor. But what do y'all think? Bribery and forced labor. And this is what's crazy. All you need is 2 predicate acts to form a RICO. So and this is the reason why they are having a problem coming to a unanimous decision, because the unanimous decision has to be, is Diddy guilty of 2 or more of these charges on this list? And I'm sure a lot of people are like, kidnapping and bribery, man, the car ain't even blow up. It was just like, it was just a match that just was on, and then it just like fizzled out. So no. Bribery, some people may say, it's not a big deal, or either sex trafficking, you know what I'm saying? But it's not a lot of people who can come to a unanimous decision on 2 of these charges, and that's the actual issue. Jaden said, first time watching, waiting for the verdict in Saudi Arabia. Shout out to Jaden. You think it's not guilty of all Jane and Cassie charges? I know they have them separated. I'm not exactly sure, because in my opinion, they both went up there and they made Diddy look like he was a saint. Do y'all think the same thing? Cassie went up there. She didn't say anything crazy about how he beat my ass. He did this. He made me. She didn't do none of that stuff. She literally said she kind of like wishes the best for Diddy. And she literally said the reason why she left was because she was jealous of how he was treating the other women that he was dealing with. You know, Kim Porter, because Kim Porter was still alive when she was with Diddy. So she wanted to be admired, admonished, loved, cherished like Kim Porter. And she literally said that's the reason why she left. She didn't say I was chained in a basement and all this other shit. So she didn't really say anything crazy. And then Jane Doe, goofy ass, she went up there and said, well, Diddy is still paying my rent. And the only reason why I was there is because I needed my rent paid. Those two people are both paid off by Diddy, one with $10,000 a month and the other one with $20 million as a settlement. So you got both paid off people that literally just said, he was a bad person, but he wasn't even that bad. You know, so we ain't really got shit from them two broads. And personally, I think Cassie is a crackhead whore. Sorry, but I think she is. I think Diddy and Cassie were both like junkies and they used to just do junkie shit. She admitted that she would steal drugs from Diddy. That's what junkies do. They reach in each other's bags and steal each other's drugs, and then they'll get to fighting and beat on each other. That's what drug addicts do. So I just think Cassie was a hoe before she got with Diddy, and she's just a junkie hoe. That's just my opinion. Good morning. What's up, Felicia? What's going on? All right, so let's keep going. But the question of the morning is the RICO trial. What counts do you think he's guilty of?
Because it's an element of racketeering. Now, check this. In the list of elements, because when they go through the...
When Cassie was 19, she was still with her first boyfriend, which is what's his name? What's the guy's name? She was with the first guy. She didn't get with Diddy until age 21. She didn't get with Diddy until age 21. When she was 21, she lied to him. What's the guy's name who Cassie was with at first? God damn it. She was what's his name? What's his name, y'all? No, who was she with when she was 19? Not Kid Cudi. Ryan Leslie, thank you. She was with Ryan Leslie. She was 19 when she was with Ryan Leslie. She signed with Diddy with Ryan Leslie at the age of 19. She didn't start messing around or cheating on Ryan Leslie with Diddy until she was 21. So and this ain't, helping Diddy out, but I'm just letting y'all know what happened. Mr. Let Go, do you think Diddy is not guilty? I want Diddy to go under the prison. I want them to put baby oil under the prison and throw Diddy up under there. So that's the first thing. I want Diddy to go to prison. Is Diddy going to be guilty? I would say yes. At first, I thought he was going to get off, but I think he's guilty. And I think they think he's guilty because what the jury thinks is the main thing that's important.
Jury questionnaire, and I'll show it to you. It's not just guilty or not guilty. On racketeering, it's guilty or not guilty, but also then a list of, I believe it's 10 elements that they have to say, was this proven or not proven? Those predicate crimes. It's 8. It's kidnapping, arson, bribery, witness tampering, forced labor, sex trafficking, transportation for engaging in prostitution, and possession with intent to distribute a controlled substance. See, here's part 1 of this form. Count 1, racketeering. How do you find the defendant not guilty?
And everybody who just came in, welcome and good morning. Drop your city in the chat. Let me know where you at. To the new people who just came in, drop your city in the chat. Let me know where you at. Drop your city in the chat. Let me know where you at. And hit the thumbs up button. We're trying to get this video brought out, sent out to more people. We're trying to get up to 10,000 viewers, 10,000 live viewers this morning. So let's hit the thumbs up button and drop your city in the chat. Let me know where you at. To the new people who just came in. So look, check this out. He's about to break it all down.
You give it to them. Is it still distribution? The answer is yes. The elements to this question say nothing about what the other person does. If you give it to them, you're distributing. Drug trafficking is not a separate crime here. It is an element of racketeering. The only reason why they're considering drug trafficking or drug distribution, that's not hard to say, is because it's an element of racketeering. Now, check this. In the list of elements, because when they go through the jury questionnaire, and I'll show it to you, it's not just guilty or not guilty. On racketeering, it's guilty or not guilty, but also then a list of, I believe it's 10 elements that they have to say, was this proven or not proven? Those predicate crimes. It's 8. It's kidnapping, arson, bribery, witness tampering, forced labor, sex trafficking, transportation for engaging in prostitution, and possession with intent to distribute a controlled substance. See, here's part 1 of this form. Count 1, racketeering. How do you find the defendant not guilty, guilty? But then you have to, if only you got to guilty, then you have to say, well, how'd you get there? What was proven? Kidnapping, proven, not proven. I can't read this. Acts involving arson, proven, not proven. Acts involving bribery. Acts involve, you see. So you have to go through each of these. They have to say that it was proven on at least 2 of these things. This is page 2 of it, where they get into, you see that drug distribution is the last one. That is the order that they are meant to consider these things in. So that tells me that they are on the 8th element and asking, is that prove it? And the answer will be yes. So if they're getting to that one at this time, fairly quickly on the first day, I would submit that they would probably said yes on bribery, because that's probably the easiest one out of all these two.
I agree. I would say bribery and forced labor are the 2 easiest ones
to find. I think transportation to engage in prostitution is also really easy to find. And
the problem with the trafficking and the sex, the transportation for the form of prostitution, the problem with that one is, in my opinion, is everybody done flew somebody in to have sex with them. Everybody done did that. So it's like, are you okay with putting a man in prison? And I'm not taking up for Diddy. I'm just saying, are you okay with charging a man for RICO when you be doing the same thing as a man? And it's 8 men on the jury in the jury pool. I don't see a man convicting a man for flying in prostitutes or flying in somebody to have sex with, because we do it. I don't say I do it all the time, but I fly a chick in and you know, beat up her goonies. Like, yeah, you know, you meet a woman on Instagram, y'all like each other, and you know, y'all exchange numbers or whatever. She lives in Nebraska or Ohio or, you know, Miami or whatever, and you fly ass in and, you know, beat up the doonies. And that's a normal practice for most probably gay and heterosexual men. I don't want to just say heterosexual men, but I don't know what gay dudes do, but that's a normal thing for heterosexual men to meet women and on Instagram and, you know, fly them in. So do dudes do that? Because, you know, Diddy is flying dudes in. That's why I'm bringing up the gay part. So because I think I don't know how people know this, but juror 25 is a gay man. The one that was causing all the problems. I don't know how they know the nigga is gay, but they're saying he's gay. So maybe 1 or 2 of the 8 men are gay. Are they going to see flying somebody in the same as a heterosexual man would look at flying somebody in? I don't know. But I know us heterosexual men, we gonna fly a chick in that we think is attractive from Instagram and smash. And we aren't going to feel easy or convicted to convict a man for doing the same thing. But if the dudes are gay on a panel, you know, so maybe they were like, "Oh my God, that's terrible." But he was flying men in, so I don't think that gay men would look at a man that is gay flying a man in for sex bad either. So whether the men are gay or whether the men are heterosexual, I don't think any of the men in particular are going to say that he needs to go to prison for flying sex into their city, because it's what we do. What's up, Carly? Good morning. So I don't know. And to the new people who just came in, please hit the like button. Please hit the like button. Please hit the thumbs up button. So I don't know. Forced labor, I agree with.
That drug distribution is the last one. That is the order that they are meant to consider these things in. So that tells me that they are on the 8th element and asking, is that distribute? Prove it. And the answer will be.
That's what I'm saying. Should this man go to prison? Like, take Diddy name out of it. Just look at a person. Should a person go to prison for life for having or getting caught with 0.7 grams of drugs? So the prostitution thing is a no. All these are opinions, y'all, because somebody said prostitution is illegal. Who cares? We all buy pussy. Like, who cares? Like, forget it. These are people, all right? Nobody needs to be going to prison for the rest of their life for distribution, and they just had some pills and is a Diddy party type of distribution. So no. Prostitution, everybody buys pussy. So no. So that's what I'm saying. No. The answer is no. So this is the reason why the jury is caught up or messed up or confused.
Yes. So if they're getting to that one at this time, fairly quickly on the first day, I would submit that they would probably said yes on bribery, because that's probably the easiest one out of all these to find. I think transportation to engage in prostitution is also really easy to find, and forced labor isn't even that hard. So when they're saying, hey, we think we're close on distribution on these elements, they're saying we are halfway to saying yes on one of the elements of racketeering. This is not looking good for Diddy. We thought racketeering would be the hardest thing for them to get to guilty. They might be getting there on day 2. That's just one theory on how to read this question. I can't be certain that that's what it means.
The jurors are in there fighting. The jurors in the Diddy trial have been deliberating since yesterday, and as you know, they got a little drama going on. So when you're serving on a jury and you're in the deliberation phase.
Her name is Lauren the lawyer. Her name is Lauren the lawyer. Follow her. And the last guy that was talking, his name is Toure, Toure'. So follow him also.
Meaning the trial is over and you guys are there trying to make a decision at this point. If the jury has a question, number one, they can only ask the judge. They have to put it in writing, and the foreperson must sign the document. The foreperson is like the captain of the jurors. And I served on the DUI trial last year. Yes, attorneys can serve on a jury. A lot of times they don't want us because we can, persuade people. It's kind of like what we do for a living. But I was selected, and of course your girl was the foreperson. Who better qualified than moi? I have an entire...
Brown Sugar says the jury also knows that both ladies have a financial gain, and Jane is still getting her rent paid, so they don't see him as a threat. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, you're not going to put somebody in prison because he's just paying chicks rent, because that's what men do. Like, if you take away the whole Diddy being this terrible person part, and you just look at this as a law, and a man is paying a woman's rent, and she just testified and didn't even testify against him. She just testified because she didn't even say anything incriminating because he's paying a rent. Like, how are you gonna put somebody in jail for just paying for pussy? It's just what we do. Indirectly, not directly.
Video about the experience if you want to know about it. But while we were serving, we wanted to look at the body cam footage again. So I had to write that request down in writing. I had to sign off on it, call the bailiff. The bailiff took it to the judge. The judge said, come on out, come back and watch. So the foreperson has like all the official work to do. And then I had to read the verdict too. So the foreperson is important. So in Diddy's case, the foreperson was writing to the judge like, we got a problem in here. Juror 25, he ain't following the rules. He ain't listening. He causing nothing but trouble. And if I had to make a professional prediction of what's going on, I can guess the juror, I think it's juror 25, got in the back and was like, I don't care what happened at trial. This is my decision. I don't talk to me about no exhibits, no witnesses. I don't care what the law says. I don't care. No. That type of attitude can cause a lot of problems back there. You got to remember, you have 12 strangers who come from all walks of life. So they ain't feeling juror 25. So they sending letters to the judge like, please help us deal with this person. So that all happened yesterday, day 1 of deliberations. On day 2, which is today, the jury came back after a long day of chit-chatting and basically said, Judge, we have a verdict on everything except for count number 1, charge 1, which is racketeering. I'm also not surprised that the charge that has everyone, in a tizzy is the racketeering. It is a charge where the black letter law is very clear. It's
All right, so before she get into racketeering, thank you so much for this comment right here. And if you want me to read your comments, y'all don't have to, but if y'all specifically want me to read a comment, y'all want me to stop the show and read a comment, make sure to put it in the super chat. When you put it in the super chat, it puts color behind your words where I can easily see it throughout these sea of comments. But I did see this because this makes a lot of sense. Okay. Tough Media Production says, Mann Act has nothing to do with consent. It basically is designed to lock black men who had blank with white women across the state line. Go do your research in this particular law. Well, that, even though is true, it doesn't matter. It's at the end of the day, the Mann Act is part of this case. So the Mann Act is the Mann Act. It's not the Black Man Act. It's not the White Man Act. It's not the Chinese Man Act. It's the Mann Act. So even though I understand your sentiment, nobody cares in that courtroom because the Mann Act is a goddamn Mann Act. That's it. That's it. So I understand, but nobody cares. Not saying I don't care, but they don't care in the courtroom. The Mann Act is a goddamn Mann Act. We can sit here and say, oh, they bringing a black man down. If those were white women, it would be this. Or if he was white, what about this guy? We ain't got time. I'm not going through all this black people shit this morning. So shout out to your comment. I appreciate that. But Trish says, Juror 25 probably convinced everyone else on charge 2 through 5. He bout it.
Really not confusing on paper, but people have the idea of the crime in their head, and sometimes people can't remove what they believe to black and white. So I'm not surprised. Just like when I started this Diddy series, it was very hard for some of you guys to wrap your mind around the fact that you do not have to transport anyone for the crime of sex trafficking. I think people hear traffic and think of a car or some type of vehicle, and I kept having to tell you guys, you don't have to transport someone anywhere for sex trafficking.
Did y'all know that? Put a 1 in the chat if y'all knew that. I did not know that until she said that.
A lot of people get confused. They get confused with human trafficking, sex trafficking. I had to tell you guys over and over and over again, for sex trafficking, it's all about how you go about getting the person to engage in commercial sex. Did you get them to do?
So it's not the how they were transported. It was how you got them to have sex with you. So it's not how from here to there, it's how from the living room to the bedroom. That's the transportation part right there. How did you get her panties off? Not how did she get to your house?
Do it by fear, by threat, by intimidation, by coercion. How did you get them to do it? That is what sex trafficking is. So when people are using the example of, oh, now getting flued out of sex trafficking, they're being facetious, right? Because if these are just willing participants getting on a plane and being flued out, that's one thing. Or did they go and participate because you threatened them, or you blackmailed them, or you coerced them? Anywho, both sides are in a tizzy about this potential hung jury on the racketeering charge. Neither side wants that for multiple reasons. Now, they have a decision on those other charges. We don't know if that's guilty or not guilty just yet, but just know that whatever that decision is, they can deal with it and put it behind them. Double jeopardy would attach once they have a verdict on those other charges, meaning that if it's not guilty, the government can never come back and charge him again for that same crime that there was a verdict reached on. But if they don't reach a verdict on this racketeering, Diddy can't throw his hands in celebration. This is not a not guilty verdict. It does not mean you get to pass go.
That means they just have a hung jury and they'll just start this whole thing all over again. So for those of you who think if they don't come back with a unanimous decision, Diddy walks, no, there's a couple things that can happen. They can decide to just dismiss all the charges and just send them home, which most likely ain't going to happen because these are the feds. The feds have a 96 or 98% conviction rate. So that's not going to happen. The feds are going to get a conviction no matter what. They're the feds. That's the first thing. So if there is a hung jury, they're just going to do this shit all over again. Just keep that in mind. Diddy is not going home under no circumstances. It's just how much jail time he's going to get is in question.
It means that there was no verdict reached, and there's options here. The government can decide to try this case again, but only on the racketeering charge, if that's the only charge that they don't come to an agreement on. Everything else has a decision. They can come back and try him again just on the racketeering. Or the government can say, it wasn't worth it, we're just going to drop the charge. But it's the government. They salty. I mean, when have the feds ever wanted to get beat? They're going to probably try this case again. So the jurors, specifically the foreman, have been sending these notes to the judge. We are at an impasse. It's too strong on both sides. You can't convince the side they say yes. You cannot convince the side that says no, Your Honor. We're at an impasse. The judge was like, all right, we got a couple options. The judge looks at the prosecutors, looks at the defense, was like, hey, what y'all want to do? Do you want to accept a hung jury on this one charge and move on with the rest of the charges that you have a decision on? Or do you want to force them to go back? So everybody starts shoo-shooing in their respective groups. And
yes, that's the reason why he keeps forcing them back. Because if it's a hung jury, they're going to have to do this shit all over again. And that's going to cost the city and the federal government like hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's why he's like, no, whoa. We know y'all got four, y'all agreed on 4 counts. Go back in there. Because if we don't figure out this last count, everything's going to be a clusterfuck. And I don't want to start over and do all this shit over again. And Sha Dominique says the conviction rate is high due to plea deals. Yes, I totally agree. I thought this was going to end with a plea deal.
They come to the same decision, sitting their behinds back, because nobody wants to live in the grave. People want a decision. If you get a hung jury, Diddy has to live with the fact that it's not over. The government can come back and
at any time. John said this is first degree assault of the 2016. In 2016, you can't convict a person. 1, he's not on trial for beating on a woman. And 2, you can't convict him for something he did in 2016. 2016? Really? That's 9 years ago. That's come on now. Like, you can't convict somebody from 2016. Stop it. They're using the video from 2016 to show that he has the ability to force somebody to do something. So he's not on trial for what he did on 2016. They're showing what he did in 2016 to show that he's capable of forcing labor, which is one of the counts, forced labor. He has the capability of beating somebody's ass to get them to do something.
try this case when they want, and the penalty is so steep with racketeering, you could face life in prison. Nobody wants that cloud looming over their head. People want a decision, no matter if that decision is good or bad. People want to know what it is. Once they both decided that they wanted the jury to go back, the judge was like, okay, we got a second decision to make. Do you want the verdict on all the other charges and they just go back and chit chat about the racketeering, or do you want them to go back on everything? Now, here's the caveat. If they give their verdict on the other charges, they cannot change their mind. Once that verdict is done, it is over.
And guess what? They did not turn their verdict in. They just sent a letter saying that we are ready to turn in the verdict. But the judge told them no. So the judge has not yet accepted the verdict. Guess what this means? That means they can change all of this shit and none of this really matters until they come back out from deliberation. So think about this. They go to the judge and say, hey, we have 4 counts and we're at a unanimous decision. Are you ready for it? He says, what about the 5th count? We're deadlocked. Well, do not give me your verdict, because once you give me your verdict, it is over. So he said, do not give it to me. That's when it was at something law. I forgot what the law was, where he sent them back in there to do more deliberating. But this means that all this stuff can be changed. It could be somebody like, you know what? I changed my mind. I think he's guilty instead of not guilty. And they're like, no, come on, man. Like, what are you doing? And it can mess everything else up. So that's a crazy part. They are now deadlocked on 1 as of now. But once 9 o'clock hits, which is in 2 minutes, they can be deadlocked on everything because they had a night to sleep over and just think about, like, should I put him in prison or should I let this man go free? You know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna go back in and change my verdict. So it could be even worse come in the next 2 minutes when they start deliberating. They deliberate in about two more minutes.
So it's final. Or do you just have them not say anything and they just go on back? Ultimately, the decision was for them to just go on back, so we don't know what's going on. But I have a feeling tomorrow's the day. I don't think Diddy's going to get a good night's rest tonight. These charges are very serious. He is facing up to life in prison on the RICO. On the sex trafficking alone, a minimum of 15 years. And then the transportation for prostitution, that one holds a max of 10 years. If Diddy is found guilty on multiple charges, which I do believe he will be, I think he will be found guilty on the sex trafficking against Cassie and the transportation of prostitutes, then we don't know if the sentences will run concurrent or consecutive. Well, let's just say sex trafficking has a 15-year minimum. So let's just say he gets 15 years for the sex trafficking and 3 years for the transportation of prostitutes. If it's concurrent, that means he'll do the 3 years and the 15 years all at the same time. But if it's consecutive, it means that he'll serve his 15 years, then he'll serve his 3 years. That's a total of 18 years in prison instead of 15. And we don't know what the sentencing will be. Now, some jurisdictions allow the defendant to decide who does the sentencing. Some jurisdictions. So they give them the choice. Do you want the jury to sentence you or the judge? Now, if you had just been found guilty.
Wow. I never heard of that. Have y'all ever heard of that before? You can allow the jury to sentence you or the judge? I ain't never in my life heard that. Has anybody ever heard of that before? You can allow the jury to sentence you? Like, I would want the jury to sentence. Let's play that again.
Sex trafficking has a 15-year minimum. So let's just say he gets 15 years for the sex trafficking and 3 years for the transportation of prostitutes. If it's concurrent, that means he'll do the 3 years and the 15 years all at the same time. But if it's consecutive, it means that he'll serve his 15 years, then he'll serve his 3 years. That's a total of 18 years in prison instead of 15. And we don't know what the sentencing will be. Now, some jurisdictions allow the defendant to decide who does the sentencing. Some jurisdictions. So they give them the choice. Do you want the jury to sentence you or the judge?
That's crazy.
Now, if you had just been found guilty, who would you want to make the decision? I don't know if I just trust them 12 people who just convicted me, and I don't know if I trust that one person over there either. Like, do you leave it to the 12 people who just found you guilty, but at least it's 12 of them? They have to come to an agreement, or do you leave it to the hands of that one person over there in the road? Real quickly, you guys wanted me to touch on the drop charges from last week that the prosecutors did right after they rested their case. They dropped the attempted arson and attempted kidnapping. They only dropped the attempted part, not the did you do it part, just the attempted part. And I think it was genius. Imagine when you have the jury about to go into deliberations about some very, 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 very serious charges. You might not want to muddy the water with some of this little foo-foo, you know? He probably was like, you know what, scrap that. Get to the meat and potatoes. Forget them sides, okay? Forget them greens. Get to the good stuff. I thought it was a great trial skill, great tactics, great lawyering. 1 point for them. I can't believe we are getting down to the wire. I'm really going to miss this saga with you guys. This has been a journey. I wonder who's going to be our next criminal. A part of me does miss my normal family law content because you guys know I have so much to catch you up on. People been wilding, mostly me. I ate the fool in court today, but I'll tell y'all about that later. Drop down in the comments. Let me know your thoughts about the jury, the drama, and what you think the verdict will be. And it sounds like I might see y'all tomorrow for the conclusion. Ta-ta for now.
Shout out to Lauren, the lawyer. She is so dope. Shout out to Lauren, the lawyer. And she said this from yesterday. Shout out for Mr. Nice, military court marshal. I have seen the jury do it. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I can imagine a court marshal. That's a little bit different. I totally agree with it. I see what you're saying.
A lot of people have asked me, what time is Diddy looking at if he's found guilty on certain charges? So I think that this is the perfect time to go over it.
Wait, did y'all see Gina yesterday? What did Gina do yesterday? I heard something about Gina, but what did Gina do yesterday, Wendy? Wendy. What did Gina do yesterday? Uh-oh, hold up. Is this? Hold on, what's going on? This ain't nothing. I thought I'd just seen something. Okay. TMZ caught her. Send it to me, Wendy. Like, shout out to Wendy. Wendy be sending me dope stuff. Send it to me, Wendy, and I'll check it out.
I think all of us are very anxious since we know today the jury did render a partial verdict on counts 2, 3, 4, and 5. And I've heard from multiple sources that were in the courtroom when Diddy actually received this letter that him and his defense team looked very stressed and kind of worried. And this is just my opinion on this, but I do feel like since they are hung on the RICO charge, Diddy is definitely going to be found guilty of something out of count 2, 3, 4, and 5. I think for sure Diddy is going to be found guilty on the 2 transportation to engage in prosta charges. Both of those charges individually carry a 10-year maximum. I also think it might be very likely that they might render a guilty verdict, and this is just my opinion, with the trafficking of Cassie Ventura. This is my opinion just because the questions that the jury asked a couple hours before they finished these verdicts. You remember they wanted the testimony from Cassie Ventura testifying about the Intercontinental Hotel incident, which is the video that we've all seen. They also wanted information about the Cannes Music Festival, where Cassie Ventura said that she was thrown off a boat, and also Diddy allegedly showed her freak-off tapes on the flight home. And then the jury also wanted the transcripts from the worker Danielle Phillips, who alleged that he heard Diddy attacking Cassie when they were at a freak-off in the bedroom next to them, and Cassie came out visibly shaken, and he could tell that she was scared. To be clear, once again, this is just my predictions based on knowing that the jury is deadlocked, which means they have some people thinking Diddy is guilty of RICO and some people thinking that he's not guilty of RICO. My opinion, I feel like if some people think that he's guilty of RICO, then they probably think that he's guilty in some of those underlying crimes, like possibly trafficking. When it comes to the trafficking charges of Jane, I'm honestly not sure. The trafficking charges individually hold a 15-year minimum. And then the biggest...
And real quick, one, as y'all come in, make sure to drop your city in the chat. Let me know where you at. Drop your city in the chat. Let me know where you at if you just came in. 2, as you come in, or if you have not already, please and thank you, hit the thumbs up button. Hit the thumbs up button. Hit the thumbs up button. The third thing is, if you see a blue link in the chat that says buy my car game, just click the link and see what you think. Just click the link and see what you think. See if it's something on the website that you would like. I have 2 different card games and I have a book also. So check out the link. Just go on the link and see what you think. That's all I ask y'all to do. So hit the like button, drop your city in the chat. Let me know where you at, and click the link to see what you think that is in the chat. The link in the chat, drop the link. I dropped the link already. So the link is also pinned at the top of the chat, and the link is also the video. There's a picture of my card game under this video also. Click the link. Let me know what you think. Just click it, see what you think. And if it's something you want to buy, check it out. If not, cool. But click the link. I need every single person watching to click the link to see what you think.
This one being the RICO that right now we know it's deadlocked, and we're not sure if they're actually going to be able to come to a unanimous decision, or if they will, can be up to life in prison. I think based off of the deadlock, and this is just my opinion, this is probably why we saw Diddy's lawyers and even Diddy have a very kind of sad reaction when they got this letter that the verdict for 2, 3, 4, and 5 was already in. It's potentially that they were thinking the same way I was, that if it's hung, something in the other charges is probably going to come back guilty. Really have to understand the RICO charge. Not only does it just have to be a criminal enterprise, but when the judge gave the jury instructions, there's a lot of terms that they also have to look at when rendering a verdict. Like the fact that there has to be 2 predicate acts committed within a 10-year time period for the defendant to be found guilty of RICO. The RICO charge itself by law is technically just not as clear cut, so when they get the jury instructions, it could kind of confuse them on actually what they're seeing. Me, it's crazy. We're literally getting down to the wire, and I think tomorrow we are going to figure out exactly what charges Diddy is going to be charged with.
And hold on, Wendy, maybe you sent it to my other page. Hold on, I got 2 pages. Let's see, is Wendy in here? Yep, here we go. All right, here we go. We got some new information about Gina, Diddy's ex-girlfriend. So the jurors saw that with Gina, not good. Okay, Gina, Diddy's ex-girlfriend, Gina Hawana. I don't know how to pronounce her last name. I won't be scared if he walks free. He's not dangerous. Uh-oh, that's not good. He's not dangerous. That don't sound good. God damn it. Hold on, y'all. Here we go. Stop that.
Diddy's gonna win this trial? Before you go, I just what I want to know. If Diddy does win this trial, do you think you're
This is Gina. Diddy's
Hi
ex.
Gina, how you doing? I have a quick question for you. You think Diddy's gonna win this trial? Before you go, I just what I want to know. If Diddy does win this trial, do you think your life will be threatened in any kind of way? You don't think so?
No.
You think everything will be safe? Because the girl Aubrey O'Day, she said that if Diddy wins, she's gonna leave the country.
I mean,
She said,
he never did anything dangerous to me. I'm not
scared.
You're not scared?
She said she's not scared.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. That's all I wanted to know. Okay. The girl Aubrey O'Day, she said that if Diddy wins, she's gonna leave the country.
I mean, he never did anything dangerous to me. I'm not scared.
You're not scared?
That hurts the case. Thank you so much. Shout out to Empowered Wendy. Shout out to her. Give her flowers. Everybody in the chat say thank you, Wendy. Everybody in the chat say thank you, Wendy. Shout out to Wendy. Shout out to Empowered Wendy. Everybody shout her out. Give her flowers. She hit me up yesterday. I was like, go live. I was like, oh shit. So shout out to Empowered Wendy. Everybody say thank you, Wendy. Thank you, Wendy. Thank you, Wendy. Thank you, Wendy. Come on, y'all. Thank you, Wendy. Thank you, Wendy. Thank you, Wendy. Thank you, Wendy. Shout out to Wendy. She's so awesome. Give her flowers. Okay. Check this out.
on 4 of the 5 counts. Now, keep in mind, there's the racketeering count, and there's 2 sex trafficking counts, and that the jurors have come to a decision on 4 of the 5 counts. Now, keep in mind, there's the racketeering count, and there's 2 sex trafficking counts, and 2 transportation for prostitution across state lines counts, okay? The sex trafficking counts are like 15 years. So, I mean, even if they acquit on the RICO, if they find him guilty on any one of the other offenses.
My moderators, can you tell me what my likes are looking like? Where are my likes? Moderators, can you tell me what my likes are looking like? Tell me what my like count is. Do we need to tell them to hit the like button, or are we good?
It could be 10 or 15 years. There's a 15-year mandatory minimum on the sex trafficking charges. They are deadlocked on the RICO count. The jurors came back with a note saying, they've made a decision on 4 of the 5 counts, but they're deadlocked on this other one. In other words, we have unpersuadable minds on both sides of the aisle. So some people think he's guilty, some people think he's not. It could be 11-1. We don't know. It could be 6-6, could be 10-2, could be 11-1 for not guilty. But what the judge did was brought everybody back into the courtroom, and he gave them what's called an Allen charge, basically. They'll go back and deliberate some more and try not to offend your conscience and blah, blah, blah. If they come back again, after a few...
Yeah, that's the Allen charge. That's the word, the Allen charge.
Hours of deliberation and say, Judge, we just can't do it. The judge will probably let him hang on that count. That means you're going to get a verdict on 4 counts and then a hung jury on the RICO. That means you're going to get a verdict on 4 counts and then a hung jury on the RICO. And the government has a choice. If he's acquitted of all the other 4 counts, they probably won't do anything with the RICO count. If there's a mix, like a compromise verdict, they probably will. If it's all guilty, they have the option of trying that RICO count if it comes back as a hung jury. When you look at the questions, because they talked about distribution, right? And they wanted to know if somebody's asking for some drugs, is that distribution? That's really directly related to the RICO case. It seems to me the prostitution across state lines is a pretty easy guilty. I mean, it really wasn't controverted at all.
All right, y'all. Inner City Press is now in action. He says day 35, jury deliberation, day 3, after verdicts reached on 2 of the 5 unpersuadable opinions on RICO. So he just said there are unpersuadable opposing opinions on the RICO charge as of right now. Unpersuadable, like we got a hung jury if that's the case. Why the hell are we here? Hold on, somebody said something about 60K. Drop the link on your, let's see. Drop the link on my IG page. I can share it. Okay. Wendy, I'm gonna drop the link and put it in your stories. Put it in your stories because when you put it in your stories, you can. Do you know how to drop the link in your stories, Empire Wendy?
And the sex trafficking, if somebody's out unconscious, that's coercion, force, fraud, or coercion. That's what they have to prove. Anyway, so remember what I told you? I told you to look at what the jurors' questions are when they send something to the judge.
So y'all listen to him because he's a lawyer and he's breaking this down to a science.
They can ask questions of the judge within 70 minutes.
Thank you, Gabe. Appreciate you.
They had a question for the judge, and it was, can we do something about this other juror who doesn't want to follow your directions? Here's the thing. The jurors have to follow the instructions that the judge gives them. So the jurors sent a note saying that they were concerned that one of the jurors could not follow the judge's instructions. Now, this guy had his PhD. And let me tell you something. I have a story similar to this. I was doing jury selection in a murder one. I had this juror who had, you question him one-on-one in a murder one case. So we're trying to see if they can be fair during voir dire, or some people call it voir dire. This juror had his PhD in computer science. He had a restraining.
We have not gotten the jury is still deliberating, so and Diddy is in jail, but we haven't gotten a conviction
order
yet.
against him because the president of his unicycling club wouldn't return his affections. So you know right away when you hear this that you're dealing with a nut job, right? Well,
Oh, hold on. Let me back up. Y'all listen to what he's saying. This is very important. Listen to what he's saying. He's talking about juror 25 right here.
Juror had his PhD in.
Hold on. We're talking about a juror 25 and how sometimes overly smart, educated jurors can be buttholes.
Story similar to this. I was doing jury selection in a murder one. I had this juror who had, you question him one-on-one in a murder one case. So we're trying to see if they can be fair during voir dire, or some people call it voir dire. This juror had his PhD in computer science. He had a restraining order against him because the president of his unicycling club wouldn't return his affections. So you know right away when you hear this that you're dealing with a nut job, right? Well, I'm sitting there and the judge is talking to the juror, and every question that he was asked, his answers were weirder than the one before. And you could just tell he was going to be an absolute pain in the ass. We had questionnaires. He took 3.5 hours to fill out his questionnaire. Everybody else took like 20 minutes. And he bitched about the order of the questions. I suspect you're going to have something like that. And the defense would love to have this guy on the jury. But if he can't follow the directions and he becomes too much of a pain in the ass, guess what? There are alternates in the wings waiting. But it seems like that resolved. And then today they asked the judge for transcript of several sections of testimony, and included Cassie Ventura's testimony about the 2016 Intercontinental incident. As I told you, the jurors had asked about transcripts of, and usually they don't give them, usually just rely on your memory. There was a delay of about 3 hours because the lawyers were bickering back and forth about what they wanted to add.
Good morning, the Power of Beauty Salon.
And the delay was caused in part because of the dispute between the lawyers about how much of the testimony to include. The defense lawyers wanted to add more, including testimony about Ventura's $10 million settlement with Los Angeles
This is important. Why are they asking more questions about the amount of money that was given to Cassie?
Continental Hotel, while prosecutors advocated to send a narrower portion of the transcript. Why wouldn't you just send the whole thing and then, without highlighting a particular portion of it?
Because if you send the whole thing, that's going to cause like hours and hours of work, because you got to go find the specific piece of information that they're looking for. That don't make no damn sense.
After Judge Arun Subramanian suggested sending the jury the entirety of Ventura's testimony, which was what I would do, prompting Combs to visibly shake his head at his lawyers, and the defense lawyers relented and agreed to send a shorter portion of the transcript. Juries must have wanted to see a certain portion of the transcript. This tells you what they're thinking about. And from the defense point of view, that's probably a good thing, because if they're focused on her testimony, they're questioning her credibility. The jury focused on 3 instances that prosecutors highlighted as examples of Combs' alleged sex trafficking of Ventura. First, the jury requested Ventura's testimony about being assaulted by Combs at the Intercontinental Hotel in Los Angeles. She testified that she tried to...
They're spending a lot of time asking about Cassie. What exactly does that mean? Why are they asking about Cassie so much? It could be about the bribery. It could be about the forced labor. It could be about trying to find out whether her being paid off with her settlement affected her testimony, or the fact that her and her husband was living with her mama before the lawsuit, and it makes it look like she needed the money, and she's not a credible witness at all, even though she was there. Probably, I don't know. Hit a like button, hit a like button, hit a like button, hit the thumbs up button.
Leave a so-called freak-off sexual encounter after Combs gave her a black eye. Second, the jury also requested testimony given by Ventura and Phillip about an alleged instance in which Combs became violent with Ventura at a New York hotel during a freak-off. And notice these are in different locations across state lines, that kind of thing. The last portion of the testimony requested by the jury focused on a time when Ventura traveled with Combs overseas to attend the Cannes Film Festival in France. This is interesting. So, and the jury, you can really kind of dive into the mind of the jury when you read their questions. So another question that the jury's had, jury had. The judge said he plans to answer the jury's question from yesterday about narcotics distribution by referring them to a section in their legal instructions. In other words, you have everything that you need. Just dive in.
The fact that she accepted payment, let me say this about Cassie and the Jane Doe. No matter what you think about Diddy, if Diddy gave you $20 million and a hug, most likely, you don't want to see him in prison. There's a certain amount of love you got for somebody that just gave you $20 million. What's up, Moeezy? Good morning. Everybody say good morning in the chat if y'all just coming in. Everybody say good morning in the chat if y'all just came in. How are you going to stand up there and testify against a man that just gave you $20 million? It's almost impossible. And then with a Jane Doe, the same thing. How do you testify against somebody that is paying your rent every month from jail? That is impossible. So both Jane Doe and Cassie are in no way credible witnesses. I don't care what you did. You give me $20 million, I'm going to look the other way.
Into it. The word distribution means actual, constructive, or attempted to transfer. To distribute simply means to deliver. That's the general gist of, to deliver, to pass over, to hand over something to another person, or to cause it to be delivered, passed on, or handed over to another. Distribution does not require sale. So if Robert and I are out there and I've got a bunch of ecstasy because I want him to take his shirt off, and I give him a bunch of ecstasy and he does, that's distribution. Just handing somebody, you don't have to sell it. And in the third note, so this is a jury that's really engaged. So in a third note, the jury asks if a recipient wants, requests, or asks for controlled substances, and an individual hands over the controlled substance to the requester, has the individual who hands over the controlled substance distributed? Yes. The answer is yes. Just because somebody asked it.
And just so y'all know, I have Twitter up and I'm waiting on any information. So we're playing these videos, but just know that I have Twitter right here. I have a phone right here, and I have a phone right here. All right. And I have a phone right here. And I have a phone right here. So I have 4 phones running. All right. Where's my other thing? Actually, so I have 4 phones running. So y'all don't have to worry about not missing anything. Can I share it out? Yes. So just so y'all know, I literally have 4 phones running. So I'm watching everything. All right. There's a phone here. Phone here. Phone here, and I'll just put the other phone right here. So I'm watching everything like a hawk.
Doesn't mean it isn't distribution. So the jury is focused on deliberation, and what does it mean? And Agnifilo objected to the judge's instruction, saying he doesn't believe it goes far enough to answer the jury's question. The court is about to make something that amounts to a mistake, he argued. Can I give Your Honor an example? No, the judge said. Can you do what I'm asking? The judge denied defense request to modify the language in the response, saying it would confuse the jury even further. This is an attempt to mislead the jury, prosecutor Maureen Comey says. Oh, that's Comey's daughter, I believe. Combs stroked his chin and looked directly at the judge while the argument played out. When the judge denied the lawyer's request, he stared at Agnifilo. I don't think he and Agnifilo are getting along, to be honest with you. The structure of the verdict form instructs the jury only to consider the drug offenses and other underlying crimes if and only if they find Combs guilty of racketeering conspiracy. So, what does that tell you? The fact that they're looking at distribution, and you only look at the distribution if and only if you find that racketeering exists. Did they find that racketeering exists if they're now analyzing what distribution is? you could probably argue that that's the case. And
they're trying to find, because you need 2 counts in order to make a RICO. And remember what the list was? The list is kidnapping, arson, bribery, forced labor, trafficking, transportation, and drug distribution. So you need 2 of those counts for it to actually be RICO. So that's what they're trying to figure out.
if that's the case, stick a fork in him. He's done. The jurors get an instruction. They cannot consider consequence. They cannot consider penalty at all. But they can't consider punishment.
They can't consider punishment. This is a huge part right here, y'all. Good morning, Magnum ICU. What's going on? They can't consider punishment. So they can't be sitting here like, yo, man, do I want to put this man in jail or in prison for the rest of his life? You can't consider punishment. This is a very important part.
Cannot consider consequence. They cannot consider penalty at all. But they can't consider punishment. But they can't consider punishment. But they can't consider punishment. You can't consider the consequences of how this might affect the music industry or how sending somebody to prison for way too long a time. You can't do that. My money is that they're really already figuring on a conviction of the conspiracy and everything else that follows from it. I really believe that. Here's the other interesting factoid that came out. The jurors are deliberating, right? And while they're deliberating, he gets hit with yet another civil complaint. He was accused in a fresh civil complaint of drugging and being an Orange County man in 2021, according to the lawsuit obtained by USA Today. In 2021, the man, then in his 20s, alleges that the lawsuit that he met a security guard for one of Combs' parties.
Here is the video of that. Check this out. Y'all remember this?
Hired by a security.
This is the security guard that
According
is suing
to
him.
your lawsuit, you were hired by a security firm to work security at one of the infamous white parties that was thrown by Sean Combs in the Hamptons. What was that experience like?
At first, he was incredibly friendly, very gracious.
So you had a friendly chat, and then, according to your lawsuit, at some point later in the night, Sean Combs himself offered you a drink. This didn't come from staff or someone holding a tray of drinks. It came from him directly.
Correct. The first drink started to have some effect on me, and I just thought, wow, these are really strong drinks. It wasn't until the second drink, and it was already too late, that I realized that there was something wrong with the drinks. Sadly, Sean Combs was waiting in the wings. He was watching from some sort of vantage point. And once I was in a helpless position and he was sure that he was in a position of power, then he took advantage of the situation.
You allege that you were forcibly pushed into an SUV by Sean Combs. That act alone, according to your lawsuit, left you in considerable pain. And then once inside the vehicle, your lawsuit says plaintiff was held down by Combs, who overpowered him while he struggled to escape due to the effects of the drugs in his system. And it goes on to say that he sodomized you.
I was screaming. I was telling him to stop. It was incredibly painful. And
all right, shout out to Brown Sugar. You so afraid to say no to a freak off, but you're not scared to mess with other men. I will be scared to take his money and play him if he's dangerous. Yes and no. Yes and no. One, when a woman is getting her ass beat as much or as often or as severely as Cassie was, they grow numb to this. And ladies, y'all let me know if y'all have ever been through something like this. You're numb. You don't necessarily care. You don't even care about dying because you almost died. Cassie almost died probably 2 different times. Once you almost died a couple times, you don't care. So that fear isn't there anymore because there's a feeling of indifference. You're indifferent about your own life. You're indifferent about the relationship. You're indifferent about leaving. You're indifferent about staying. So there's no fear anymore. There's just indifference. So that's the first thing. Then, you so afraid to say no to a freak off, but you're not scared to mess with other men. Y'all like men. So why would she not mess with other men? Just because she don't want to have a freak off doesn't mean she doesn't get horny and doesn't want to have sex with a man that she chooses to have sex with. All y'all want to have sex. But if somebody makes you have sex with this guy, you're going to say no. But do you want to have sex with that guy? The answer is yes. So the third thing is, she says, I will be scared to take the money and play him if he's dangerous. Well, women look to latch on to another man. And to them, whether he can or can't, she wants a man to be that is able to stand up to Diddy and that isn't scared of Diddy, and she would get with him. And that's the reason why she got with this cuck dude that she's married to now. She is a crackhead whore, and this stupid idiot done married a crackhead whore. You think she's going to turn down somebody marrying her? No. So, yeah.
He was acting like it was nothing, and he seemed to be.
What's up, Renee? I got the whole crew in here now. What's going on, Renee?
Disconnected from it. It was abusive beyond belief.
Damn. So this is another guy that's suing Diddy now. And I'm sure y'all seen this, but I want to play this just in case somebody did not see this.
Think has been proven. The things I've heard, the testimony, the video I observed, I'm convinced that he was involved in at least 2 cases of assault and battery against women. I'm convinced that, yes, he facilitated or was an accessory and perhaps an accomplice to the explosion in the car. And to that extent, I'd have to give him a few years. And on the multiple assault and batteries against women, I'd have to give him a few more on that. If you want to sum it up, if it were a state crime, the Judge Mathis has observed the evidence and the testimony and the transcripts, what would I give him, 5 to 10?
Which is not letting him off on anything.
Not at all.
That's a tough sentence in my opinion.
I agree.
So that's what Judge Mathis said. All right, so let me look on Twitter and see what's going on. All right, so nothing yet from Twitter. So I want to go down a rabbit hole in a second, but let's do this. Let's play this first.
Questions in Diddy's trial, and it is getting worse and worse. So now they are asking for the transcripts from Cassie and for Daniel Phillips. Now this is very big, so let me break this down. So they specifically are asking about the Canes incident when it comes to Cassie. Now this is when she was allegedly forced to do the freak off after Diddy threatened to release the videotapes of her. Daniel Phillips is the Gretz worker who heard Diddy slap Cassie in the other room when they were about to do a freak off, and then she had to come out there after being attacked and do the freak off anyway. They also asked about the Intercontinental Hotel incident. So it looks like they are working on the Gretz trafficking charges with Cassie, as well as the bribery charge from the Intercontinental Hotel. And for the Daniel Phillips guy to say that he heard Diddy slap Cassie and then she came out and did that freak off after she did not want to do it could be very damaging.
Diddy trial day 34. So the defense and prosecution are going back and forth over which experts they want to leave in, and I just posted the transcript. So the defense is like, we should absolutely be able to put in Cassie's response to the video and ask, saying that she thought that this issue was about domestic violence. So obviously the prosecution doesn't want that because the DV isn't a factor in this case. However, the judge has ruled that he sees no harm in including that statement from Cassie that this is a DV case based off of the video that was released in March of 2024. Now, while all this is happening, the jury is still deliberating. The judge instructed them to hand over those experts by 1 p.m. today. It is 12:40 right now, so we'll see where this goes. Now, if you guys remember, Daniel Phillips was the escort that was one of the first ones to testify, and he testified that he received from, I think it was $400 to $6,000 to have relations with Cassie. He is the one that testified about the peeing, and he is the one that testified about hearing the DV acts against Cassie from the other room.
Okay. Let's see. Shout out to Brown Sugar. Thank you so much for the super chat. Diddy kept moving the goalpost. They thought a grand payday was coming. Cassie threatened the men for the money. Diddy paid for it. He the only one at bribery. And what she's talking about, I'm sure y'all heard it, but for those who didn't, I'll play it here. This is what she's talking about right here.
Life and I'll kill you. Yeah, you don't have to see it, but it's my life and I'll kill you. Yeah, but no, I will. If you don't show me right now, I will kill you and I will hide you and I will cut you up and put you.
This is what I'm saying. She's a crackhead
dirt right now. Pull it up. If you have it, pull that up. Because if not, I'm gonna kill you and then he's gonna kill you again. So just do it. Pull that up right now.
Apparently, you can die 2 times.
I'm going to kill you. You don't understand. I don't give a fuck. I've never killed anybody in my life, but I will kill you because you're with me. You're with me in my life right now. If I saw a video of you doing anything that you didn't want people to see, I would show you the video so you could tell me what the happened. You're playing games with me, telling me you saw some. Now you're saying you didn't see some. You're with me. I'm going to you up. I don't think you understand. And it's not going to be my hands, and it's not going to be blood on my hands. Someone else is going to do it. So you have to tell me right now, and I'm recording this whole shit. FYI, tell me what the you're talking about. Because this is not cool. We're not playing. I'm not playing with you, Sujit. Like, you saw some. Yes, you're my brother. Be my brother and tell me what you saw. You're going to be able to find it?
So that was that. I'm sure y'all heard it, but for those who didn't. All right. So I want to go down a rabbit hole real quick, pause, and give y'all an understanding of why this may be happening all together. And for those who, let's see, adjusted what? I just want the mess to be over already. I don't, because this is entertaining. So let's see. Okay, let's start here.
Did Diddy's mom force him to engage in these freak-offs when he was still a minor? Chill, these Diddy stories are getting way out of hand. And honestly, at this point, it's hard to say what's fact and what's not. Because every single day, there are more and more horrific stories about this man. And now the streets are saying that Diddy's mom was involved in the freak-offs and that he grew up to be the way that he did because of his messed up childhood. So word on the street is his mom, Janice Combs, was an escort, and she would sometimes make Diddy watch her indulge in these freak-offs when he was still a kid. As if this wasn't bad enough, his dad was also the leader of a very notorious gang in Harlem back in the day. And he would physically assault people and sometimes even unalive them in front of Diddy. Now, this don't excuse any of his behavior, not one bit, but at least it gives us a little explanation as to where Diddy inherited all these nasty fetishes and extremely tendencies from. Okay, so
yo, is it clear or is it skipping to y'all? Is it clear or is it skipping to y'all? Give me a second. Is it clear or is it skipping to y'all? Yeah, we got to get these likes up also. Let me know, was the video skipping or was it running clear to y'all? Because it was skipping on my end. I just want to make sure it's not my computer. It was skipping? Okay. All right, give me a second. Let me see if I can fix something real quick. I'm doing way too much stuff at one time. 160. All right. Boom. Okay. So now it should be okay. And back it up a little bit to the part that y'all missed.
Fetishes and extremely tendencies from. Okay, so ever since Cassie filed her lawsuit, Diddy's whole life has pretty much gone down the drain. He's lost over 18 brand deals. He was kicked off of his position as chairman at his own company, Revolt TV. He's now being dragged to court by the company that distributes his alcohol beverage, and the SA lawsuits just keep piling up by the day. It's definitely not going to be long before he wipes his bank account clean to fund all of these court fees and fines he's going to be paying. And as if this wasn't bad enough, people have also been looking into his family to try and figure out how Diddy came to be the kind of person that he is. And man, oh man, people found out a whole lot. It looks like Diddy's raging addiction to drugs, these freak-offs, and his people is tied to his childhood trauma. See, Diddy was still a kid when his father passed away, so in order to provide for the family, his mom Janice was working 3 jobs, and allegedly escorting was one of them. My mother worked 3 jobs, and my grandmother worked 2. At an early age, I started my own paper route. According to the internet, Janice would sometimes bring some of the men that she hooked up with to the house. This is something that she would do often, and Diddy would witness it happen all the time. As if this wasn't already bad enough for an underage kid to be seen,
crazy.
It's also been reported by multiple sources that his father was a gang leader in Harlem. This was confirmed by Complex Magazine back in 2013 in an explosive article where they investigated the parents of a lot of popular rappers. The article read, Diddy's dad, Melvin Combs, was a well-known Harlem gangster who had connections to both Frank Lucas and Nicky Barnes. And Janice was the boss's ride-or-die chick. After her husband was brutally murdered when Diddy was still a child, she took to raising young Sean on her own. And if you thought this was bad, wait till you hear about Diddy's very weird relationship with his mother. People have actually been speculating for a while now that Diddy and his relationship with his mom goes way farther than the regular mother-son relationship. These rumors got even worse after a video.
Oh, let's stop right there. Okay, so I played that because I wanted to give y'all an understanding of why men like Diddy are the way they are. I was talking to somebody the other day, and to a certain degree, she said that not all, but in her mind, virtually all men are these terrible people, right? They're abusive, all this other stuff, right? And I asked her what formed her opinion about men. And she said, because she was M-worded like repeatedly by her uncle and another guy, right? When she was a kid. And even though that's horrific for the men to do that, I asked, where was your mother? Where was your father? And she said she never knew her father. So that's one thing. And the other thing is, she said her mother used to drop her off at her aunt's house when she went to work. And that's when the second thing happened, the R-wording thing, the M-wording thing. And the first thing happened in her own home by her uncle, right? So I said, it sounds like your mother didn't protect you. And she said, yes. And that's the thing that a lot of people don't pay attention to. The majority of the women who have gotten R-worded, the majority of the little boys who have gotten R-worded and M-worded, it was due to the fact that their mother did not protect them. Their mother put them in bad situations. The reason why I'm bringing this up is Diddy is the way he is because of his mother, Janice Combs. She allegedly put him in these disgusting, compromising scenarios over and over again. And then once he turned into a teenager, he literally was holed out to Clive Davis. He was holed out to Clive Davis right here.
His mom, Janice Combs, was an escort, and she would sometimes make Diddy watch her indulge in these freak-offs when he was still a kid.
See right there. And this is speculation, but the thing about it is a lot of men end up these terrible people, abusive men with no morals due to their mother's maladaptive raising of them. So there's another person that is now in prison that is just like Diddy, not just like Diddy, but I want to know if y'all know who this guy is. So check this out. Put a 1 in the chat if you recognize this guy right here. Put a 1 in the chat if y'all recognize this guy right here.
You go fuck him, and then you let me know how it was. My mom would get drunk at the house with her homegirls, and she would say, look how fine my son is. So I'm thinking she's saying like her son's a handsome young man. But what she's really saying is to her 40-year-old friend.
So I want y'all to think about this. Does this sound exactly like the same story with Janice Combs and Diddy? I'm gonna play it again. Listen to what he said involving his mother. It's the same shit. And guess where this man is right here? He's doing life in prison also. So I'm not taking accountability from Diddy or from him, but we got to find out why these men become these sexual deviants, these abusive people. It's because of their mothers in a lot of cases. So put a 1 in the chat if you recognize who this man is. Watch this.
I'm going to get him drunk, and then you go fuck him, and then you let me know how it was. My mom would get drunk at the house with her homegirls, and she would say, look how fine my son is. So I'm thinking she's saying like her son's a handsome young man. But what she's really saying is to her 40-year-old friends, damn, he is a handsome young man. She go, pull you out, baby. And it's 3 or 4 women. I'm like, Mom, please stop embarrassing me. And her friends go, oh, no, it's big, huh? And who are all these black women? They're business women. There are some sick bitches out here. Some sick, grown-ass women out here. I slept with like 4 of her friends. And my mom managed big, humongous corporation companies. And she was the manager of her clients. And had me fuck them. And she got them drunk. And she told me to fuck them. So you're not going to shut me up. Nobody's going to shut me up. That's the problem. Every time I try to tell somebody, everybody shut me up. So I'm not going to let you, I'm not going to let no cops, I'm not going to let my case try to shut me up. Because if anybody try to shut me up, I'm going to say, fuck all y'all. The cops shut me up. Child Protective Services came to my mom's house. My mom used to beat me. She would choke me to death. She would slap me and over and over and over again. And when CPS came and they tried to ask, before she answered the door, she would say, baby, there's these people coming and they're gonna tell you that
And keep in mind, the reason why I'm playing this is to let you know that if we want men to stop being these sexual deviants, if we want men to stop being abusive to women, if we want men to not hate women, all this crazy shit, one of the things we have to do is end the single mother epidemic and make it a point to have fathers in these little boys' lives. Because I'm telling you now, a male growing up without a father can easily cause that man to either hate or have disdain for women. So one of the reasons why Diddy is like this is because his mom. This man right here is in prison. He about to be in there next. Diddy about to him and Diddy about to share a damn a damn bunk.
They hear a disturbance from mommy. Did mommy hit you? Mom, you just whooped me. Did mommy hit you? No, ma'am. Mommy didn't hit you, right? No, ma'am. What was mommy just doing? Mommy was just cooking for you, right? Yes, ma'am. When the door opens,
this shit is terrible,
if you
man.
Tell them, if you don't tell the truth, and the truth is, mommy was just cooking for you, and nothing happened today. Please, you would never see your mommy again. You won't want to see your mommy again, right? No, ma'am. I'm 26, bro. I'm 26. My mom kept me away from my dad for 26 years. You know what kept me away from him? My mom told me that my dad said I was a mistake and kept me away from my father. Every time, this has been looking for me since I was a kid.
Yeah.
He's been looking for me. I finally talked to my dad. He's a good
women with some shady characters. However, it all came crashing
Same
down
shit.
when one of the hustlers allegedly did something unspeakable to one of the young women. Rumor has it that Janice managed to evade any charges thanks to her late husband's connections to law enforcement. So, if all these rumors are true, it really makes you wonder if this is one of the reasons Diddy appears to have twisted relationships with women. The story goes that Janice was allegedly pushing Diddy to do whatever it took to climb that ladder of success, with some even claiming that she encouraged him to cozy up to powerful men, letting them use him to get ahead. Only
See, y'all hear that, right? Do y'all see the pattern? That's the pattern. And it gets worse. Watch this.
for Diddy to turn around and allegedly do the same to others. And when Diddy
And he turns around and allegedly starts doing the same to others. Let me back this up again. I need y'all to hear this. Listen again. Let me back it up a little bit. It's very important.
ladder of success, with some even claiming that she encouraged him to cozy up to powerful men, letting
His mother encouraged him to cozy up to powerful men
them use him to get ahead, only for Diddy
and let them use him to get ahead
to turn around and allegedly do the same to others.
in order to get him to do it. And next thing you know, he grows up doing it to others. And who are the others? Check this out.
He was grooming us.
Boom.
It's kind of like you're signing boy band groups and girl band groups because you like one or two of them and you want to see who's gonna go. It's nothing to you but a tax write-off, but you're really searching for a butt the whole time. So he was looking for my butt, Chopper butt, everybody butt. He was just signing a lot of boys. Usher, it was something he figured out that R. Kelly figured out is we can get them away from the
What's up, Trigon Cooper?
parents. If we could get them alone, isolated, then we can get them.
I know this man well enough to call him and say, hey, I need a favor.
Yeah.
Making the bitch, not making the band. I said we go back and tell him we ain't doing it.
Hold on. I'm gonna play this later. I just want y'all to hear something.
But that set up step 2, because the entire world does and should revolve around him. Superior to other
people really know you?
No, people don't really know me, and that's by design.
Who is this person, the Sean Combs, that we don't know?
We have yet to find out.
Right.
You have to come along for the ride. You have to come. I mean, that's the whole part of the journey. That's the whole part of entertainment. I mean, you don't rock with a brother for like going on 20 years and stop now. You got to see this movie all the way through, baby. Believe me, I got an action-packed ending for you.
I think I understand him. He enjoys stepping on people. It gives him a perverse thrill, and he needs to feel superior to other people.
So why does Diddy feel this need to do this to people? Why? Because it happened to him. It happened to him. Somebody felt superior over him.
That Janice was allegedly pushing Diddy to do whatever it took to climb that ladder of success, with some even claiming that she encouraged him to cozy up to powerful men,
happened to
letting them
him.
use him to get ahead.
It happened to him. So he does it to other people.
Only for Diddy to turn around and allegedly do the same to others. And when Diddy started showing some seriously troubling signs, think anger issues and other disturbing personality traits, Janice allegedly egged him on to be ruthless. But here's where things take another sinister turn. Even when Diddy's anger turned on her, Janice apparently didn't lift a finger. According to Diddy's former bodyguard, Gene Deal, Kirk Burrows, a former executive at Bad Boy, witnessed Diddy putting his hands on Janice.
You know, Kirk Burrows was like, yo,
go fuck him, and then you let me know how it was. My mom would get drunk at the house with her homegirls, and she would say, look how far my son is. So I'm thinking she's saying like her son's a handsome young man. But what she's really saying is to her 40-year-old friends, damn, he is a handsome young man. She go, pull out, baby. And it's 3 or 4 women. I'm like, Mom, please stop embarrassing me. And her friends go, oh, no, it's big, huh? It's big, huh? And who are...
Do y'all see the pattern? It's not just Diddy.
All these black women, they're business women. There are some sick bitches out here. Some sick, grown-ass women out here. I slept with like 4 of her friends. And my mom managed big, humongous corporation companies. And she was the manager of her clients. It had me fuck them. And she got them drunk. And she told me to fuck them. So you're not going to shut me up. Nobody's going to shut me up. That's the problem. Every time I try to tell somebody, everybody shut me up. So I'm not going to let you, I'm not going to let no cops, I'm not going to let my case try to shut me up. Because if anybody try to shut me up, I'm going to say, fuck all y'all. The cops shut me up. Child Protective Services came to my mom's house. My mom used to beat me. She would choke me to death. She would slap me and over and over and over again. And when CPS came and they tried to ask, before she answered the door, she would say, baby, there's these people coming and they're gonna tell you that they hear a disturbance from mommy. Did mommy hit you? Mom, you just whooped me. Did mommy hit you? No, ma'am. Mommy didn't hit you, right? No, ma'am. What was mommy just doing? Mommy was just cooking for you, right? Yes, ma'am. When the door opens, if you tell them, if you don't tell the truth, and the truth is mommy was just cooking for you and nothing happened today, please, you would never see your mommy again. You won't want to see your mommy again, right?
That's what they tell them. You'll never see your mommy again.
I'm 26. My mom kept me away from my dad for 26 years. You know what kept me away from him? My mom told me that my dad said I was a mistake and kept me away from my father. Every time, this been looking for me since I was a kid.
Yeah.
He's been looking for me. I finally talked to my dad. He's a good dude. My mom told me my dad has not paid child support since I was a kid. I finally meet this. He has envelopes full of fucking shit proof showing he's been paying child support. Put my son back on the phone. No, it's my son too. What do you want? Put my son back on the phone. And I'm listening to my mom. All that slapping, abuse, and beating me up, choking me. My mom turned into a 2-year-old little girl when my dad started talking to her. She talked to me like my entire life. He's yelling on the phone, you mad because I left you. And I didn't want to be with you no more. And you kept my son away from me as a weapon.
So I ran across that video. Some people, there's no reason for you to know, but my YouTube channel got demonetized like 2 years ago. and I didn't know why. And I can only assume it was because of that particular video, and it was unedited. So that it was more horrific stuff that he said in that video, but I had to cut certain things out due to the fact that that video got my channel demonetized, and my channel has never been the same since. But I think back then it was important for me to put that information out that can. So I just want to offer the side note of, when you look at Diddy, when you look at any other man that, because put a 1 in the chat if you've ever dealt with abuse as a woman from a man. Put a 1 in the chat, ladies, if you've ever dealt with some type of, terrible abuse by a man. The majority of y'all have. Why? Because of those men's childhood. So we have a responsibility as parents not to do the same bullshit to our kids that was done to us, because we have a responsibility to our kids and our community to not breed, raise sexual deviants. You feel me? Diddy is a sexual deviant because of what happened to him as a child. His mother used to let him watch her bang like Johns. What's up, King Greco? All right, so we got some information that's coming in. Let's see. Judge Al Reese, jurors file back in. Judge, very briefly, thank you. Tomorrow, go directly into the courtroom. Tomorrow, keep an open mind. Okay, this must be old. Hold on, y'all. No, this is hours ago. All right. All right, 9:54 a.m., a couple minutes ago. This just in. The only person in the three lawyers' tables, the only person at the three lawyers' tables in the courtroom is Combs, lead counsel Agnifilio, purple ties, working his cell phone with two thumbs, just going like this. Combs' family has cleared out from the front room of the gallery. There is a moment in the courtroom. Combs' other lawyers have returned. There is word of a jury note, another note, nothing confirmed yet. So there's another note from the jury. Let's see. So yeah. So things are about to start. Let's see. There's a moment in the courtroom. Combs' other lawyers have returned. There's movement in the courtrooms. All right, nothing confirmed yet. All right. So yeah, there's another note. And just understand, these notes are simply notes sent to the judge in order to ask questions or to get clarity. So every note we hear that is being passed around is not a note that there's a verdict in. Hold on. What you got, Wendy? All right, hold on. Wendy is saying we got something. Send it to me, Wendy. Wendy, send me what you got. Because I'm looking at I'm looking at Inner City Press. Unless my shit isn't updating. Send it to me. Let's see. Deliberated 3 days ago. Replying. Mine is saying 10:01 a.m. There's movement in the room. Hold on, y'all. We got something. Check my other phone. My stuff is 10:01 from 10:01 and it's 10:06. So let's come out of here. Let's try Diddy docket. Let's see. Okay. Word given. There is a verdict in the U.S. Combs trial. We'll continue live tweeting below. Okay. She is right. There is a verdict. I got it. I'm on Diddy docket and Inner City Press. Inner City Press wasn't saying anything. Okay, verdict is in. Okay, got it. Okay, I just seen it. There is wait, you got the same thing. It don't your stuff is saying the same thing I'm saying. I got the same thing, but I went on Diddy docket and it says word given. There is a verdict in US versus Combs. We'll continue live tweeting below. So the verdict is officially in. Everybody share this out. Everybody hit the thumbs up button. There is a verdict in. Wait. Word giving. There is a verdict in. What are you talking about? I just said it. They're gathering everyone. Yes, but a verdict is officially in. We just don't know what the verdict is. All right. So like the video and share the video. Like the video and share the video. All right, so let me play this. We got action, y'all. We got action. We playing these videos, but we got action. Everybody hit the like button. Everybody share this video.
Deadlocked on count 1, which is the RICO charge. So count 2 is the Gretsch trafficking of Cassie, and then count 3 is the Mann Act transportation of Cassie.
Hold on, y'all. Let me do this again.
Y'all, they are deadlocked on count 1, which is the RICO charge. So count 2 is the Gretsch trafficking of Cassie, and then count 3 is the Mann Act transportation of Cassie. Count 4 is the Gretsch trafficking of Jane, and 5 is the Mann Act transportation of Jane. They are deadlocked on count 1, saying that the people who are stuck on both sides are not moving their decisions, and they cannot find a way to come to a unanimous agreement. Now, the judge is suggesting giving them a modified Allen charge, and this is basically reminding them of the importance of reaching a unanimous verdict, and also their duty to be willing to listen to each other and explore each other's viewpoints. This is a way to convince them to continue to deliberate, to not give up, without it sounding so coercive. The prosecution and the defense want the jurors to continue deliberation. They do not want this to go in and they'll not have a decision. Y'all, I don't know if this is for guilty or not guilty, but I did not expect a decision this fast for a RICO charge. Soon as I have some more information, y'all, I will let you know. I think they're only finding Diddy guilty of trafficking Cassie. Now, hear me out before y'all start going off. In order for that count 1 RICO charge to stick, they have to find him guilty of at least 2 out of the 8 predicate acts. Those are bribery, arson, kidnapping, witness tampering, forced labor, drug distribution, trafficking, and prostitution. All right, now counts 2 through 5 are the prostitution and trafficking charges for Jane as well as for Cassie. So if they had found him guilty on all of 2 through 5, that would automatically means that the RICO charge will stick, because that would be the 2 predicate acts that is needed. However, they are deadlocked on the RICO, which means they all believe 1 is on there, but the second one, they don't agree with it. What I'm thinking they're stuck on is that bribery charge, because there was somebody to testify about the video and said that they got paid to make that video disappear. They also saw that Cassie sued the hotel for making it disappear. And in one of their jury questions that they sent since deliberating, they asked about the Intercontinental Hotel again. I feel like that's what they're stuck on for the RICO charge to stick. But as far as all the rest of the charges with Jane, I feel like they're not sticking at all.
Next, both sides asked the judge to push. The prosecutors requested a modified Allen charge, the classic go back and re-examine your views. The defense said that the Allen charge is too heavy-handed right now and advocated for more gentle language. The judge returned to the bench and weighed wording from both teams. The final message to the panel, delivered on record, was, I received your note that you have reached verdicts on counts 2 through 5, but not on count 1. I ask at this time that you keep deliberating. This means that the jury has decided on 4 counts, and the verdicts are sealed until all counts are done. Racketeering conspiracy is still divided, and the judge could revisit an Allen charge if they stay deadlocked. There are 4 verdicts, and what do you think the split is on count 1?
I just stepped out of the courtroom and there is a major development in the Diddy trial. The jury has reached a verdict on count 2, 3, 4, and 5, but they tell the judge they are unable to agree on count 1, the RICO charge. The note reading that they have unpersuadable opinions on both sides. For recap, that means they have reached a verdict on the sex trafficking charges of Cassie and Jane, and both transportation to engage in prostitution charges. The note came in at 4:05 p.m. and is the second note of the day. The jury has been deliberating since 9 a.m. this morning. In the first note, they asked for transcripts of Cassie's testimony regarding the Intercontinental Hotel attack, as well as the incident at the Cannes Film Festival, and also a freak-off with the male escort that testified, Daniel Phillips. They also asked for Daniel Phillips' testimony regarding a freak-off at the Hotel Essex. Right before this note came down, the mood was light. The attorneys and also members of the press were hanging out in and around the courtroom. Around 4 o'clock, Mark Agnifilo walks into the courtroom and says that he's just bored. But then his expression quickly changes when he gets an email. I noticed he looked at his phone, so I asked him, did you get an email? And he said, yes, there's a note. And within 10 minutes, the courtroom was flooded with attorneys from both sides, Diddy's family, members of the press, and also spectators. And you could tell it was something big because immediately Diddy's attorneys formed a football style, just all 8 of them standing in a circle around him while he sat in the middle. They had concerned looks on their faces, even a little nervous. And the conversation was intense, a lot of just head shaking. The judge walked in 30 minutes later and read the note out loud. And then he asked attorneys from both sides how they would like to respond. Immediately, lead prosecutor Maureen Comey jumps up and says that they propose a modified Allen charge. The Allen charge is basically a special instruction that the judge can give a jury, asking them to go back in there and re-examine their opinions and try harder to reach a unanimous decision without coercing anyone. They also suggested that he remind the jury that if they can't come to a unanimous decision, that it may lead to a mistrial. But the defense didn't want to go that far. They just wanted the judge to tell the jury to keep deliberating, that it's only been a day and a half, and that they didn't give it their best shot. But both sides did agree that they did not spend nearly enough time deliberating to say that they're gridlocked. The judge also brought up another issue, that the court is closed on Thursday and Friday, and wanted to tell the jury that if they don't reach a decision, that they have 2 options, that they can all agree to come back on Thursday, July 3rd, and even though the court is closed, the judge would try to work some things out, or return Monday, July 7th. Both sides didn't have an issue with the jury returning on Thursday, July 3rd, but Mark Agnifilo asked the judge to give them those options only at the end of day tomorrow. His concern was that they would feel the desire to reach a verdict faster, just to get out of there. And per the defense's request, the judge brought the jury back out into the courtroom so that he can reply to their note.
Let's talk about the question the
Okay, here we go. Here we go. The verdict is in, and we're waiting. So let's do this. Let's go to ABC News. All right, so I'm about to share my screen. Shit is about to get crazy. Sent you a new tweet. Let's see. New tweet in. Okay, new tweet. Sean Combs had been brought back into the courtroom by the U.S. Marshals. He is seated with Brian Steele on his left, Tenny Gragos on his right, Garagos on his right, his family in second row of the gallery. All right, looks like they are about to read the verdict. Let me share my screen. Let's see what's going on over here on ABC News. Shit. Here we go, y'all. Put a 1 in the chat. Y'all can see a woman on my screen. Put a 1 in the chat. Y'all can see a woman on my screen. Put a 1 in the chat. Y'all can see a woman on my screen. I want to make sure y'all can see the same thing I can see before I push play, because it is about to go down. Everybody drop baby oil emojis in the chat. Drop lotion and baby oil emojis in the chat. Here we go. The verdict is
in Lower Manhattan. Aaron, I understand now that Sean Combs has entered the courtroom.
Every day from the exit.
Sean Combs is now seated at the defense table, Kira, with his attorneys. Judge Arun Subramanian has just taken the bench, instructing everyone in the courtroom to maintain decorum when the verdict is reached. It comes after about 14 hours of deliberations over 3 days, and it comes after the jury trafficking and transportation for the purposes of prosecution. From the jury would have other family members in the courtroom as well, and he asked them to hold hands, bow their heads, and pray. And that's when Sean Combs asked for blessings for his family and also for the jury. That jury is now entering the courtroom, Kira.
Is because the sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, that sentencing guideline has a minimum of 15 years to life sentence. The reason why I say in a that sentencing guideline in a sense, yes. So the racketeering conspiracy, it does have a possibility of a life sentence. The reason why I say in a sense is because the sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, that sentencing guideline has a minimum of 15 years to life. So life is a possibility whether or not RICO is met. But I think with the RICO, there's an added issue as well as to automatic forfeiture, because when you are convicted of a RICO conspiracy, the government isn't just looking to incarcerate an individual who participates, or in this case is allegedly the head of that racketeering conspiracy, but also to dismantle that conspiracy or that RICO from a financial standpoint. So all the stuff we heard about Sean Combs' homes and his enterprise and the bank accounts that were used for the sex trafficking and transportation to engage in prostitution, if convicted of racketeering conspiracy, that can also be dismantled or taken by the federal government.
And Brian, talk about some of the charges that were inside the courtroom.
So the jury, Kira, had to fill out this form, which lists the charges, proven, not proven, the predicate crimes, and whether Sean Combs is not guilty or guilty. On count 1, the racketeering conspiracy charge, Sean Combs has been found not guilty. Not guilty of racketeering conspiracy, perhaps the most complicated charge for the jury to understand. The count 1 had provided for a number of predicate acts, but the jury does not have to get into that because they have provided for a number of predicate acts, but the jury does not have to charge for the jury to understand. The count 1 had provided for a number of predicate acts, but the jury does not have to get into that because they have found Sean Combs not guilty or guilty. On count 1, the racketeering conspiracy charge, Sean Combs has been found not guilty. Not guilty of racketeering conspiracy, perhaps the most complicated charge for the jury to understand. The count 1 had provided for a number of predicate acts, but the jury does not have to get into that because they have found Sean Combs not guilty of leading a criminal enterprise, not guilty of racketeering conspiracy. They will now move to on count 2, which was sex trafficking of Cassandra Ventura. Sean Combs has been found not guilty of sex trafficking when it comes to his former girlfriend, Cassie Ventura. There was a real debate.
Wait, what just happened? What just happened? What's going on?
That the jury heard over the course of the last 2 months about consent and coercion and the complications of deciding when an 11-year relationship between Combs and Cassie Ventura may have become a criminal one. And the jury decided it was not criminal sex trafficking when Sean Combs committed what his attorneys was domestic abuse, as you saw in that video. He has been found not guilty now on racketeering conspiracy, not guilty on sex trafficking of Cassie Ventura. He has been found guilty on count 3, transportation for the persons, for the transportation for the purposes of prostitution. He has also been found guilty on count 5, transportation for the purposes of prostitution. These charges carry a maximum penalty of up to 10 years of sex trafficking Cassandra Ventura, but he has been found guilty on 2 counts of transportation for the purposes of prostitution. And we're waiting for one more count, the sex trafficking of Jane. And just now the jury has decided that Sean Combs is not guilty of sex trafficking his former girlfriend who testified under the pseudonym Jane. So the jury has now believed that the relationships that Sean Combs had with his former girlfriends, Cassie Ventura and a woman who testified under the pseudonym Jane, were not criminal, did not involve sex trafficking. And Kira, those did seem to be the most evident crimes that Sean Combs committed. We heard testimony from the male escorts. The jury heard.
All right, hold on. I want to back it up a little bit so we can get a little clarity. I'm a fast forward. I just want to hear it again.
Of here is transportation for the purposes of prostitution. And Kira, those did seem to be the most evident crimes that Sean Combs committed. We heard testimony from the male escorts. The jury heard about the cash that they were paid, and as prosecutors told them, they were not in those hotel rooms for scintillating conversation. Sean Combs guilty of transportation for the purposes of prostitution, not guilty of racketeering conspiracy, not guilty of sex trafficking. Kira?
Where Sean and non-guilty, let's put into perspective, Brian, on time he will serve. What are we looking at now with regard to years? Of course, we should point out there will be an appeal. He's got plenty of money to do that, but let's take it from where it stands right now.
Kira, I'm still trying to wrap my mind around this. I'm not even sure if I would say there would be an appeal because 3 of the counts that had a life sentence possibility are gone. When it comes to transportation to engage in prostitution, the minimum is nothing. There's a theoretical possibility that he walks out on probation. Now, do I think that's going to happen? No, but the max is 10 years. Even if you were to take both sentences, and he's not going to get 10 years, they're going to look at his criminal history, mitigating circumstances, Hold
on. Let's get it together. Hold on.
And I would assume that he gets somewhere in the middle ground.
Okay. So everybody hit the like button. Drop your city in the chat to the new people who are coming in. The verdict is in. This is literally what's happening. Count 1 of sex trafficking, not guilty. Count 2 of RICO. Well, yeah, count 1, I'm sorry, of RICO, not guilty. Count 2 of sex trafficking, not guilty. Count 3, transportation of prostitution, guilty. Count 4, not guilty. And count 5, guilty. Diddy is about to do prison time, but we got to find out what prison time he's going to get. So hold on. Everybody hit the like button, hit the like button, hit the like button. This is crazy. Let me unshare the screen and share it again. All right. So here we go. Let's get more information on what these actual charges hold. This is breaking news. Let's do this. Browser. Come on, man. God damn. All right. So we got count 3 guilty and count 5 guilty. So Sean Diddy Combs is officially guilty of count 3 and count 5. Count 3 is transportation of prostitution, which is really a bullshit charge. And let me catch up. because there's so much going on. Share my screen. All right, here we go.
Maybe like 3 to 5 years, 3 to 6 years, possible through that sentencing range for each count. Sean Combs going to trial where he was facing life and being able to walk out with something under 10 years, well under 10 years possibly, that is a victory. Will he appeal? Sure, that's his right to do so, but I don't see an appeal here. I think you take this as a win. You
take
serve the
it.
few years that you may get, and you be happy that you didn't get life. I'm somewhat shocked as to the trafficking for Cassie. I thought that might have been a stronger case for the government. I didn't think that they had the RICO, and I definitely didn't think they had the Jane trafficking. But this is, I think in only so many words, and I keep saying it, I think this is a positive result for Sean Combs and his team.
I'm being told now Combs is hugging his lawyer at this very moment. Clearly, he's seeing it as you are seeing it as well. You know, we should point out, Brian, let's look at bigger picture here. He is a music producer. He created a brand around himself. He was a big part of bringing hip hop into the mainstream. There is an entire entertainment business side to this. How do you see, from your experience, this win, as you are saying, for Sean Combs? How will it impact his business empire?
I think, for lack of a better term, there was always going to be a blemish on Sean Combs' career. I think people are going to look at this in two different ways. In one way, they're going to say that Sean Combs probably had a history of getting into trouble with the law and somehow getting out from underneath it. They're going to look at past events through both civil and criminal complaints and say, you know what, he's always had good lawyers or whatever it may be, and he's gotten away with bad charges, especially looking at that Intercontinental video. But I think the other view of this is going to be is that he was tried by a jury of his peers. All of the information, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and everything in between was shown to these 12 people, and they did not see the criminal enterprise. They did not see the force, fraud, and coercion. And I think the trafficking to engage in prostitution, I think that's going to be a lighter blemish on his career in terms of the totality of what we saw, as to like, okay, so he paid for people to go across state lines to have consensual sex. And I think consensual sex will be a big part of the conversation based on how the verdict came out. And so do I think he takes a big knock in terms of this case? Yes, but we've seen Sean Combs rebrand and come back from a lot of things, and that is a possibility here.
But let's put it into the context, Aaron Katursky, of the Me Too movement. I don't think anybody can forget the video, the surveillance video that we saw over and over again in that hotel hallway of Sean Combs barely naked in a towel, kicking and dragging Cassie Ventura.
It's an unforgettable piece of video, and it was one of the most visceral pieces of evidence that the jury saw during the course of a nearly 2-month trial, Kira. And the defense really admitted what's depicted on it is domestic violence, but they said all along he's not charged with domestic violence. The defense insisted, even though the defense did not put on much of a case, called no witnesses, that what was depicted was not sex trafficking, and the jury seems to have agreed. And Sean Combs is clearly taking this outcome of a split verdict, guilty on only the transportation for the purposes of prostitution charges, as a win. The jury has been excused. As the 8 men and 4 women stood to leave their seats, Sean Combs made praying hands in their direction and bowed his head slightly as if to say thank you. When the outcome was read aloud in court, Combs put his hands in the air and looked to the ceiling, clearly taking this as a win that he was acquitted on the most serious charges he faced, Kira.
And now I understand, Aaron, his attorneys are calling for him to actually be released today. Could that happen?
Well, it could happen because he has already served about a year's time, a little shy of a year, and there will be a sentencing date. What the defense is likely arguing is that he is now no longer has anything to do with a violent crime, transportation.
Sadly, I have to say I was right. Was I right, y'all? I'm mad that he got off, but I was right. Yes or no? Was I right? Give me my flowers for being right. You said half right. How? I literally said that if they don't offer a plea deal, Diddy is going to do what? What did I say yesterday? What did I say? I said he's going to do time served, a year in rehab, and a year in anger management. I literally said that. I said it is crazy for the government to not offer a plea deal to at least put this man in here in jail for a year. He's going to do probation and time served. He's going to get like 5 years probation and time served. I said that. And everybody got mad at me. Everybody was like, oh my God, you want Diddy to go free. No. I literally said the shit that Jane Doe was saying was bullshit. I literally called Cassie crackhead whore, and they was just doing crackhead shit. I literally said that. I said Cassie is not a credible witness. She's a crack whore who found the dummy to marry her. She's a crack whore. I said that. They didn't have nothing. The only thing he was guilty of was being freaky. Now I'm wrong not wrong. I'm mad that I'm right. But goddamn, I'm right. So tell Tisa Tales, tell all these motherfuckers that was talking shit that Mr. Let Go was on the money, and Mr. Let Go called this shit repeatedly over and over and over again. This nigga is going to do time served, and he's going to take his ass home. He's going to take some anger management classes and shit, and then that's it. That's it. Cassie was the stupidest, most uncredible witness you can ever goddamn put up there. It is what it is. I said it. I am the one that said it. Tell everybody that I am the one that called this whole case from day one. And I'm not on Diddy's side. I'm just not stupid. I have common fucking sense.
For the purposes of prostitution carries a maximum sentence of 10 years, a minimum of nothing. So it will be up to the judge to decide. But where he is no longer accused of a violent crime, the defense may have a good case to get him released until he is formally sentenced. If that happens, it's possible he could walk right out the golden doors here. Certainly a number of his supporters and others are waiting. Members of his family were certainly elated. They were not allowed to show any emotion, but they are remaining in the courtroom to see what happens, what the judge ultimately decides, Kira.
Brian, your thoughts on the fact that he could be released today?
So at the beginning of this case, when Sean Combs was charged with sex trafficking, that is a charge that has the assumption that someone should be held pending prosecution. That assumption is gone now because he's been found not guilty of those two charges. And to piggyback off what Aaron is saying, the severity of his punishment has greatly decreased. He's no longer looking at life. He's looking at a max of 10 years on each count. Some of that time he's already served while waiting for this case. Mark Ignifilo, the defense attorney who's leading this case, has said that his private plane is in Maui. He has no access to it. So he's hinting at the idea of a number of things that a judge will consider when thinking about bail. Is this person a flight risk? How serious of a sentence are they looking at? And flight risk goes into two portions. The actual ability to fly and not come back to the jurisdiction, but also the likelihood of doing that. A person who's facing life, more likely to be a flight risk. A person who's just beaten 3 of the 5 top counts in a trial like this and is only facing 10 years, far less of a flight risk. And so while I think it's somewhat of a Hail Mary for him to be released today, this is the strongest possible outcome that he could have had to make this argument. And I think the defense has a leg to stand on in making this argument that Sean Combs should be released pending the sentence.
Let me ask you, Brian, because you and I were talking for days about the videos, just how explicit they were, how Sean Combs treated these women, listening to Cassie Ventura break down on the stand, listening to other women, former girlfriends, talk about the way he treated women. I brought this question to Aaron, but I want to ask you as well, as someone who's an attorney, someone who has been in the courtroom for cases that involve domestic violence. Knowing what we know about what happened and how he treated these women, and now looking at this outcome, how he...
Ma'am, nobody cares no more. It's over. Like, stop it with the how he treated these women is over. It's over. We don't care. Like, stop talking about how he treated these. He treated these women. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Because it's over. Nobody cares. It doesn't matter. Quick commercial break. We're gonna come back, and I want to bring some of you up. If y'all want to come up, I'm gonna drop the link in the chat for y'all to come up. But I want to see what y'all think about what these charges or what happened. So quick commercial break. We'll come right back.
How about we meet up at a coffee shop and play this fun dating card game? We'll have fun and see if we're compatible all at the same time.
Ooh, what's the name of the game?
It's called Deeper Discussions.
I'm down.
Okay.
I'm our card game, y'all.
Fellas,
Coming right
buy
back.
this card game. Ladies, buy this card game. Buy about 2 or 3 card games. The main reason why people can't stay together isn't because they don't like each other no more. It's actually because their present family issues come up or their past family issues come up. But when you play Deeper Discussions, you'll be able to understand a person's family issues up front.
This game can be played with either 2 people or an entire group. So have fun.
Question number 1. Name a time when money was the main factor why a relationship went bad.
Deeper Discussions Dating Edition. Again, these cards are good for vetting a potential boyfriend, a potential girlfriend, a potential husband, a potential wife. The texture of these cards are so soft and silky, by the way. Like
they ain't gonna get
really
wore out.
Durable.
A dating card game for introverts who have a hard time asking the much needed compatibility questions. Deeper Discussions, the card game.
All right, so I just dropped the link in the chat. If anybody wants to come up and share your opinion about what is going on, hit the link that is in the chat. Free Diddy. Diddy's free. So now it's not free Diddy, it's Diddy free. That's the new thing. Diddy is now free. It is what it is, Mr. Lego. Yes, it is what it is. So let's get back to the coverage. Like I said, if anybody wants to come up, pull up, hit the button, and share your thoughts. Let me go past this woman wine.
In terms of the bruising of her body, the bruising of her face.
Nobody cares.
What 12 people in the Southern District of New York, or what society would believe.
God damn it.
Aaron, outside court, tell us about who you're seeing. How big of a crowd is it? The sense of the support, if indeed he does walk out of those golden doors, as you said, the type of support he will receive.
Well, out here now, Kira, there are, of course, a number of reporters, a number of bloggers who have been following the trial, curious onlookers, tourists, those in the park across the street. doing their morning workout. But everyone is certainly curious whether Sean Combs is going to walk out those golden doors released on bail. Combs would be willing to put up $1 million bail to assure that he shows up for his sentencing. Federal prosecutors just opposed his release on bail, saying that he has committed a litany of crimes and there's no reason to believe he would do anything different if he is released now. Federal prosecutors believe Sean Combs still represents a danger and a risk of flight from justice. They point to the physical violence, even though he was not found guilty of sex trafficking nor charged with any physical violence. They say he has shown a predilection to committing physical violence, as the defense readily admitted. So prosecutors are opposing his release on bail. The judge is going to take a moment to decide.
Brian, your thoughts? Is Sean Combs a risk?
So the question is, a risk of what, right? Would I want Sean Combs to be around any girlfriends or women right now? No, because I think the allegations and the facts have shown that he is a toxic individual who could be very violent towards women. But if you're asking me as to whether or not he's a risk to not come back to court to be sentenced, maybe it's my bias as a defense attorney, and looking at this verdict now, I do not believe he's a risk to not come back to court. I think if anything, he is elated, he is happy, he's excited to come back to court to formulate the best argument for sentencing. And yes, he might spend some years in prison, but the amount of time that he would spend is far less than if he fled and never came back. And he has children here. He has enterprises here. He has at least 60 civil lawsuits that he has to fight. He has, in my mind, and maybe I'm making too strong of an application as a defense attorney, he has far more reasons to stay here and fight now after this verdict than to flee and never come back. And so do I think he's going to get released? Probably not. That's a high bar to overcome, and I don't think the judge will allow that. But I think there is a very valid and strong argument that he is not a flight risk, and I think there's a possibility, albeit very small, that he walks out of those golden doors.
And Aaron, from what I understand, the judge has now said he is going to take his time to consider if indeed Sean Combs will be released today or not.
He will give a decision today, Kira, but the government and defense attorneys are asking for a period of hours so they can write letters, make their arguments on both sides. So it could be quite a while before the judge decides whether Sean Combs deserves to be released on bail. The government is making the case that he still faces up to 20 years in prison after his conviction on the 2 transportation for the purpose of prostitution charges.
He still can face up to 20 years. I'm confused. What do you mean you can face 20 years? What's going on, brother?
Hey, how you doing, bro? Remember me last time? So my opinion is the reason why he got 2 charges, so each of them carry up to 10 years. Unless they decide to put it together, then he'll get less than 10 years. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's the reason why he's saying up to 20. That's why they're saying up to 20. And another thing, they're saying that he might get bail at 1 o'clock. If there's any other type of clause or charge that might be related to his case that could stop him from getting bail, then he could get out today and then come back later and sub-surrender. The only thing about that, because I did Fed time, is that he's not going to get no credit for all the time and all the months he's been in jail. So he's going to have to start his time all over again.
Why? Exactly.
Because
why?
That's just the way it is. I don't know. It makes no sense, but that's the way it is. They won't give him no credit time because he's going back on bail, so he's getting out. So he got to start all over again. They ain't going to give him no credit for the time that he's been locked up.
So you're saying the process starts over again because of this or something?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Yes. It starts all over again because they're releasing you. So they don't give you no credit. I've never seen nobody in the feds get released and then they give you credit for the months that you were waiting to get bail or whatever. They won't give you credit for that. Unless maybe you're on house arrest, maybe, but I doubt it. But like if they release you with no monitor or nothing, then you won't get no credit. It's like you got to start your time all over again.
Mm-hmm. Which isn't that bad because of
And he came out
So
good too.
what do you?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No,
No,
that
go
he
ahead.
came out good. I'm glad, because I knew they were gonna find him guilty because it's the feds on something. I knew that. Remember, I told you that in the beginning. But I'm glad that they didn't, bro. Because if not, they would have took all his money from his family and his kids, man. They would have did him real dirty, bro. So he came out winning, really, bro. He's gonna do time, but he's gonna be a millionaire. He's not gonna lose his money.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. All right, let's play a little bit more.
Okay.
The most serious charges of sex
Hold on a
trafficking and
second.
racketeering conspiracy that could have sent him to prison for life.
Brian, how do you think, what was it that defense lawyers did? What was it that they said? What was it that they had that you think helped deliver a victory for their client?
I think the case against Sean Combs was the first time, at least in me covering the Harvey Weinstein trial, where I was sitting in court, the R. Kelly trial, where I was sitting in court, and many of the cases that I think we would associate with the Me Too movement, where the defense was willing to say, my client is indefensible in some of his actions, that what he did and what you saw is wrong, but making the very strong distinction and walking the very tightrope of saying what he did wrong and what he's being accused of are two different things. What we've seen of people in the past of saying, well, they're all lying. You can't trust these women. You can't believe them. I think that's not a way to handle these cases. And I think what the defense did well is in talking to the human aspect of these are very messy relationships, that Sean Combs is an abuser. And Mark Kniffelow said it himself. If Sean Combs was accused of domestic violence, there would not be a trial because he would plead guilty. Do I think that's a bit of showmanship? Yes. Do I think that would actually be true? Maybe not. But I think arguing it nonetheless in front of a jury and admitting to some of the bad facts and trying to parse through it all, I think it gave them credibility to get to this verdict.
Let's bring in our Bernardo Villalona.
Hold on, let me bring Dion up.
What's up, Dion? How you doing, man?
What's up, brother? How you doing, brother?
Y'all. I just got to do this. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. I got to do this. I got to do this. Yo, y'all, Diddy is out. Y'all already know what we got to do. Y'all already know what we got to do. Come on, y'all. We gotta pour the baby all out. Let's go. Come on, y'all.
Hey,
everybody pour your baby all out.
That's one thing. He's
Let
gonna
it
be
drip.
remembered for that forever, man. That ain't going away, man. That ain't going away.
Y'all gotta let it drip, y'all. It's over with.
Wow.
This man about to get out.
About to get out. At least on bail.
Everybody got baby oil. Hold on, bro. Everybody got baby oil in your house. It's over. Everybody pull out your baby oil. Come on, everybody. Everybody got baby oil in their house. Dion, he got some baby oil. Let's go. Everybody pull your baby oil out and let it drip. It's over, y'all. Pull your baby oil out and let it drip. Drop baby oil emojis in the chat. It is over. All right. So what y'all got? Hold on, let me bring y'all up.
It's a wrap.
Shit is crazy, man.
Yeah. Hey, Dion, let me ask a question.
It's over.
Don't we gotta worry also about his other 17 civil cases as well besides this?
No, we don't got to worry about it. Cause if they let him out today, he going overseas. Believe that.
Oh, wow. Okay.
He said it in a song before.
Wow. Okay.
And I think Puff Daddy a prophet. You know what I'm saying? Because I remember Jim Deal said that Puffy Diddy predicted Pac and Biggie and Suge Knight fate, and it happened. So
he killed them. Well, allegedly. What are you talking about?
Allegedly.
How you gonna predict somebody's fate after you killed them?
He said before it happened, he said I don't care if Pac and Biggie die and Suge Knight go to jail in the middle of the East Coast West Coast situation, and it happened in that order. So
because he did it.
All right, Mr. Lego. So if he does if they do run those two charges together, because I did Fed time, we're looking at the guideline. He's a first-time offender. I don't doubt he's ever been in trouble. He'll end up doing less than 10 years, man. Less than 10 years.
I think so too.
He's gonna do time though.
With these bullshit.
Yeah, bullshit.
With
But
these bullshit charges, he's probably gonna only do like a year or probation.
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know. You tell
about
me.
no probation. I don't think about no probation. Unless if his guideline is more than 12 months, he's not gonna get no probation, man. He's gonna do time. He'll probably, if he has like 6 months. But even I've seen people in the feds go do time for 6 months, for real. So, like, just to serve 6 months in the feds, they've got yeah, man.
Hey yo, did y'all see what Trump put out earlier? He said he's thinking about deporting. He thinking about deporting citizens. He said we have a lot of bad people. Many of them was born in the country, and I think we ought to get them the hell out of here. So
hold on,
I don't think they're gonna sweat
We're not
him.
talking about Trump. No.
Nah,
All right, think of that. Think about that though.
I don't know.
I don't want to talk about Trump. We talk about Diddy.
Yeah.
So what do you think, Mr. Let Go?
I don't want to.
What do you think? What do you think gonna happen?
I don't want to talk about Trump. We're talking about Diddy. We'll talk about Trump another day. I won't talk about that.
All right. So what do you
I don't
think the
know
fate will be?
enough about it. Like I said, I don't think I think this is going to be probation. He got enough money to push for probation. There's some prostitution shit. Who gives a shit? Like, this is some bullshit. So I don't think he's going to do any time.
I hope you're right. I hope you're right on that, man. But I seen people do time for the least things, bro, in the feds, bro. They just want you. They just want to get. They wanted to see you in there, and he might go to a camp. But he's gonna go do jail time.
Wait. This is hold on. This is a federal crime.
Yeah, so he'll go to a prison camp.
I just thought
he'll go to a federal prison camp because he's a rich person. He'll go to a federal prison camp that they don't got no fence, but he's gonna do time. You know what I mean? He's gonna go do chilling right there at a prison camp. Prison camp.
Yeah, I agree with you now. I had to think about that. You're right.
Or they'll send him to a low custody prison or low custody. Depends. I don't know his points or whatever, but it depends. Sorry about that, man. You guys,
Mr. Let Go.
That was cool.
I know you eat salmon a lot, brother. I eat salmon in the morning for breakfast.
You're not supposed to eat breakfast, brother.
Oh, you don't eat breakfast?
It's too early to eat. You're not supposed to eat breakfast.
Well, yeah, I think he's gonna do time, man. He's gonna do some type of time. Sorry about that.
Damn, man.
What's
Some crazy times in hip hop.
No, it's okay. You doing your thing. I got you. You're a truck driver.
Shout out to all the truck drivers.
Is what?
Shout out to all the truck drivers.
Damn, man.
Yeah, he's gonna do some time.
I think it's mandatory. Okay, so let's talk about this, UG. Now that I understand that is a federal case, and that means it's going to be time mandatory. How much time do you think he's going to do between the two counts?
Well, remember, I said since he got two charges, each of them carry 10 years. That's why the media keeps saying up to 20 years. So if they decide to run it together, then he'll just look at 10 years and under. That's it. You'll get a guideline for 5 to 10 years. Anywhere from a year to 10 years, but you know what I mean? But that's his guideline range. Because the max on each charge is 10 years.
Yeah.
What about a plea?
Damn.
There ain't no plea because he just went to trial.
Oh, okay.
There ain't no, he did trial. I say there's no plea on a trial. That's what he's gonna get.
Yeah.
And now the judge could just sentence him. They could sentence him on the guideline. That's it. Hopefully they agree with the lawyer to put it together. You know what I mean? Or like for he could do time concurrently on those two charges. Let's see how it goes. You know.
Yeah.
But he is gonna do time, man. He's gonna go to a prison camp or a low. He's not gonna go to no medium or USP or nothing like that. That's what I think. He's not going to no US penitentiary.
So check out what she just said. I don't know. I don't know. But Magnum ICU said you got it twisted, homie. It's a minimum of 10 years for each charge.
Exactly. True? A minimum of 10 years. I don't think he has a mandatory minimum. Of what I understood was up to 10 years on each one. Up to 10 years on each one. I didn't hear anything about a mandatory minimum. That's what I understood. Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't know.
Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, I understood that he could get up to 10 years on each charge. Up to 0 to 120 months. That's what I understood.
Okay.
And forgive me, guys. I'm driving in my truck right now. I'm parking at a loading dock, but I'm listening.
No, I got you. All right, so let's go back to the video. Let's see what they're talking about.
Okay.
I'm gonna mute y'all for a second, so it won't be background noise.
No problem.
All right, so let's go back to the videos. Is it still here? Oh, here we go. All right, here we go.
Who's been also with us as an attorney, as a contributor here at ABC News. You and I have been talking every day for months now about this case, Bernarda. I asked Brian this question as an attorney who has been involved with domestic violence cases. I want to ask you as well your thoughts on what this means for the victims.
For the victims, I think this is a slap in the face for the victims. I think this is going to deter victims from coming forward and telling their story and being the voice for the voiceless in the sense of representing other victims that are not willing to come forward. I know that for a fact, I'm sure that the prosecution right now is very upset with this verdict, because they definitely put a lot of time into this prosecution, into this investigation. And they also did a lot of comforting of trying to give strength to these women, to Jane and to Cassie, to come forward, to show their face, to share their story. And this is not just like any other regular domestic violence case or just any type of abuse case. You're dealing that they were stepping forward to speak against a music mogul, a person who had the key to New York City, one of the most powerful people in the industry. So just think of how scared they were to come forward and to tell their story, and scared of what could happen once they came forward. Because I'm sure with social media and people talking in the news that they have received a lot of threats and people commenting about who they are and what they've done and that they are liars, but they alone know what happened to them. And they had prosecutors that believed in them and believed their story and became their voice.
Aaron, I understand court has now been adjourned. Combs was escorted out. A massive applause was heard from within the courtroom.
The judge said court is adjourned for now, Kira. He's going to give the parties until 1 p.m. Eastern time to submit letters arguing for or against his release on bail. The judge left the bench until later on this afternoon when he'll give his decision. Once the judge was off the bench, Sean Combs was escorted out by the marshals. The judge told him he's going to have to cool his heels in the courthouse for a bit. But as he left the courtroom, there were applause from the gallery, some cheers in the gallery, where members of his family have been in steadfast vigil. His mother, his twin daughters back, his sons have been here most days. They cheered for their father after he was acquitted of the most serious charges that he faces, still convicted of transporting for the purposes of prostitution, and now we await the decision as to whether if he will walk out to a crowd that includes people holding up Sean John t-shirts and other supporters who have been here saying, "Where's the RICO?"
Damn. This man might walk straight out the front door on our asses. This shit is, God damn it. What the hell is the thing? All right, hold on.
They've been shouting that into the street for weeks, and they would certainly welcome this verdict if he is to walk out those golden doors, Kira. For the jury, they really had to make a difficult decision, not just on the racketeering conspiracy, but as the defense said, the women that Combs was accused of trafficking were also his long-term girlfriends. Cassie Ventura with him for 11 years, Jane with him for more than 3 years. And the defense tried to argue that they were consensual relationships, that they were in it just as much as he was, because that was their lifestyle, even though they freely admitted the polyamorous swingers kink was not everybody's cup of tea. But he said these women were in it, and it required the jury to make them sex trafficking in addition to the racketeering conspiracy, Kira.
Bernard, I want to bring you back in on that. As Aaron was saying, this really came down to violence and fear versus love, infidelity, and jealousy.
You there?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Go ahead.
No. You think he's gonna walk free on this other charge? No, I did. I was paying attention. They're saying that they're trying to see if they could throw out the other charge, but I don't know, man. I don't think so, man. I don't think that's gonna be possible. That's what I understood in my.
Hold on, I got Boost. Hold on, Boosie just came up. Shout out to Boosie. Hold on, let's see what Boosie got to say. Boosie just came up. Shout out to Boosie. Let's see what he got to say.
Oh, come on, man.
He said, "Come on, man."
That's all Boosie wanted to say. So he shout out to Boosie. He just wanted to come in there and say that. Like, hold on. But yeah, man, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. Shit's crazy. This shit is absolutely crazy.
Come on now, dog. Come on, man.
So, I don't know what to say. Like, because now that, I'm glad you came up here, because I would have just assumed he was just going to get off, but he may go out, get out on bail. Do you think he's going to get bail?
Well, my wife was looking at it right now because she was telling me earlier she's watching it. She's saying that they're looking for a clause with the same type of case. They're looking at cases that have something similar to these in the feds. So that right now the lawyers are looking and the prosecutors to see if there's anything that could void him from getting out on bail. If there isn't, the judge is agreeing to let him out immediately at 1 o'clock.
Yeah. Okay. So he might get out on bail.
He might get out. He might get out, and I don't know if they're going to take away or give him credit time served for all the time. For me, I don't know. He could go out, and I know he got all this. He's a businessman, but I'll just sit my ass there and just do the time, man. Because if he gets out, I don't think they're going to give him credit time served from when he got locked up, and your time's already going. You get me? They sentence you today or whatever, or whenever they do the sentencing, then he's already doing his time.
So wait. So what you're saying is, I just want to get a understanding of what you're saying. If he stays in jail,
yeah, your time is already going.
And that your time is already going. But if you get out on bail, it starts over.
It starts over, especially if you don't have a monitor. So he's gonna lose. When did he? That's official. When did he get locked up, Mr. Lego? When did he get locked up?
A year ago.
That's a whole year right there, man. He's gonna have to start all over. It's like me when I got caught up on my drug case with my father. They didn't give me no bail. I was happy at the end because I was sitting there for like 10, 11 months fighting my case. And I was like, it's
Yeah.
better they didn't let me go. Even though I wanted to see my little boy, who was one of my youngest kids at the time, was 1 year old. I was like, you know what? Whatever. I go, at least I got a year in. Come on. Run with it.
Yeah.
I'm doing my time. I was like, better for
Yeah.
me. You know, y'all, when you're
Mm.
already in there programming and realization hitting, oh, I got a 120-month sentence. My time is going. That's it. I got my release date. It is what it is. That's how I was thinking.
Okay.
Mm.
So it makes sense for him to stay in. Okay.
It
When do you think
makes sense.
sentencing? When do you think sentencing is going to happen?
Well, it depends. The feds are weird, man. They could sentence you in 30 days, 60 days. They don't matter. They could come back in 90 days. It's up to them. But at least your time
Okay.
is going. It doesn't matter. Once they sentence you, your time is going already. So if he doesn't get out, he's doing his time. It's all going to be credit time served.
I want y'all to think about this. He's been in jail through this whole time being sad. Now he's about to be in jail happy.
Oh,
I would say.
I'll be doing backflips if I was him. He didn't lose his money. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
I'll go do
I
time being
think
a 400 million, whatever he has, $500 million. I'll go do 5-10 years laying down with no problem.
he about to go in there, pull out the baby oil, and have a whole orgy out there.
Oh,
Like,
probably.
let's celebrate.
Most likely, man. Who knows?
All the men, all the men, come on. Damn, about to go. Damn. Well, this is not over, but this was extremely interesting. This whole situation was extremely interesting.
Yeah, man.
But I don't have nothing else. I'm gonna look
All
at
right,
some
Mr. Lego.
more footage, and you can hang out. But
No, I'm gonna let you
all
go.
right,
I'm
man.
at
Have a
work,
good one.
but I wanted to get my feedback on it. That's it. Thank you, man. You have a good one, Mr. Lego.
Yeah, you.
I'm sorry.
All right, thank you, man. All right.
You have a good one. All right, you have a good one.
All right, have a good one. All right. Hold on, y'all. I gotta share my screen again. I'm not leaving. Hold on, y'all. Let's see. Here we go. All right, here we go.
Serious charges that carried a minimum sentence of 15 years, acquitting on sex trafficking, in addition to the racketeering conspiracy, Kira.
Bernard, I want to bring you back in on that. As Aaron was saying, this really came down to violence and fear versus love, infidelity, and jealousy. We are watching the doors now to see if lawyers will be coming out and coming to the mics. But Bernarda, Sean Combs may be acquitted of the most serious charges here. But let's talk about the impact all of this will have on ongoing civil cases.
Yes, so you have to think, so even though he was acquitted of the most serious charge in this criminal case, when we're talking about a civil case, it's a different burden. The criminal case is beyond a reasonable doubt. When you're dealing with civil cases, it's by a preponderance of the evidence, 51% versus 49%. But then again, with a civil case, he's just at risk of losing his empire in terms of money, but his liberty is no longer at stake. So he can live to fight those cases outside of jail bars.
You bring up a good point, because if he would have been found guilty of racketeering, that could have forced him to forfeit all his businesses, right?
Absolutely. So if he would have been found guilty of racketeering conspiracy and of the sex trafficking, anything that was used in order to facilitate this crime. So for example, his mansions in Florida and his mansion in Los Angeles would have been at risk that it would have been taken away from the government, since there was evidence that was put forth having to deal with that some of the sex trafficking took place inside of those homes. So he would have been at risk of losing that, and also a lot of his businesses and his money.
In his closing argument, one of Combs' defense attorneys asked jurors to summon the courage to acquit Combs, who conceded he could be violent, jealous, and a drug user, but whose lawyers argued the case is badly exaggerated to make Combs like something he is not. Do you think that's what happened, Brian Buckmeyer?
I think, I don't know. This one I'm still trying to wrap my mind around, and I apologize. I'm trying to get information from different people as I go about this, trying to get information from people inside the court. I think, let me try to put it in
Sir, we needed you to talk.
I think when it comes to this case, this might have been more about how the case was handled than the actual people who testified.
All right, he getting on my nerves.
Were visibly shaking throughout the reading of the verdict.
He has been an emotional defendant throughout the entire case. In fact, at one point, the judge had to admonish his attorney that Combs was gesturing and trying to make eyes with jurors as if to attempt to influence them when they were hearing certain testimony. And the judge made him sit straight and silent throughout much of the testimony. But as the verdict was being read, he started gesturing. He got down on the floor after it was over to kneel in prayer. Applause broke out into the courtroom. And I'm struck, Kira, the crowd has gathered here outside, and in the windows of the upper floors, courthouse employees are peering down to look at the streetscape below as more people rush toward these doors in anticipation of a possible release on bail sometime later on today, Kira.
And as we wait to hear what the outcome of that is, of course, if indeed the judge decides he could be released today, Brian Buckmeyer, let's talk about the jury makeup here and how it influenced this case. You think we talked about the fact that it was 8 men, 4 women. Your thoughts on the number of men in this case versus women, and how you see that influencing what happened here?
Yes, I know oftentimes when we look at jurors, we look at race or gender. And yes, there's a possibility that the number of men in this case could have been beneficial to Sean Combs in terms of trying to decide.
No, I'm not going to stay live till 1. I'm looking for something. But no, I'm not going to stay live till 1 o'clock, because it's 11 o'clock now. I'm actually looking for something that I was going to show y'all, but I can't find it. So I'm actually looking for something. I was trying to find it, but everybody hit the like button. Everybody hit the like button. Everybody hit the like button. Come back on at 1. Yeah, I'm probably going to just come back on at 1 because I can't find the damn video. So yeah. So I probably will just come back on 1, but give me a second, y'all. I'm trying to see if I can find something, and I can't find the shit. So I'm gonna keep playing out because I want to see what everybody else has sent to me.
What this relationship was like, but I think probably more importantly than race or gender would be age. And the reason why I say that is because when it comes to the conversation as to whether or not these were consensual relationships, which appears to be at the heart of the jury's verdict in terms of saying, yes, we saw that you brought these people across state lines for prostitution, but we don't believe there was force, fraud, or coercion for trafficking, and we don't believe that there was a criminal enterprise or that there was not 2 predicate acts. Right? I think a large part of the not believing comes down to consent. And what I find, at least when I talk to a jury or just talk to people in general, is there's a big divide in terms of what is consent when you talk to someone who is over the age of 40 or 45 and under the age of 40 or 45.
All right, let's get over here. Let's see what they're talking about right here. Let's see what she's talking about.
That was released with him and Cassie from 2016. And I think that it'll be interesting to see what his life is like as a businessman moving forward, but I don't expect to see something in the immediacy. And I definitely expect us to be dissecting his legacy for a good while now.
And we do have a statement from Cassie Ventura's attorney, Douglas Wigdor, and he says, and I'm quoting here, "This entire criminal process started when our client, Cassie Ventura, had the courage to file her civil complaint in November of 2023.
Hold on, y'all. I wanna see what we got. We might have something here. Let's see what this is. Let's see.
There is a lot. If you are truly angry about the P. Diddy verdict that just came in about 8 minutes ago, let me tell you how you can take it home.
Uh-oh.
Stop listening to hip hop. Do not go to places where there is a lot of drinking and rap music being. So you're telling me I'm not a lawyer?
We have huge breaking news right now. Diddy has been convicted of 2 of the 5.
All right, guys, the Diddy verdicts are coming in. They're being.
All right, so nothing. I thought it was something. We ain't got nothing.
Although the jury did not find Combs guilty of sex trafficking Cassie beyond a reasonable doubt, she paved the way for a jury to find him guilty of transportation to engage in prostitution. By coming forward with her experience, Cassie has left an indelible mark on both the entertainment industry and the fight for justice. We must repeat with no reservation that we believe and support our client, who showed exemplary and to
fake counter.
There's all these challenges for any congressmen or women who decide to go against his.
Oh, okay. They are done with it. They like, all right, we done with this Diddy shit. All right, y'all. So I'm probably gonna come back at 1 o'clock. And see if Diddy gets released, and we'll talk about that. But that's it, y'all. All of our work down the drain. But there is good news. Diddy still may do 5 to 10 years in prison. All right. So we got that. So it's not all lost. But everybody, before we go, put your baby oil up. Drop baby oil emojis in the chat before we go. Drop baby oil emojis in the chat. This was a loss, but also a victory, because Diddy most likely is still going to do prison time. So everybody, put your baby oil up and let it drip. What, 6 p.m. over here, I've got the notification on. Well, okay, cool. But yeah, so 1 o'clock, most likely I'll come back. Everybody subscribe to my channel. Hit the notification bell so you'll know when I go live. And actually, let me do this also before y'all go. Before y'all go, let me do this. Do this, then, oops. Wait, this. Okay, cool. Do this. Hold on, y'all. I'm trying to do something. All right. Then do this. I need y'all to click this link. It's simply an Instagram group chat. So everybody right now, click this link I'm dropping in the chat. It's simply an Instagram group chat where when I go back on live, y'all can actually just hit the link. I mean, y'all get notified. All right. So hit the link that I just dropped in the chat and join my Instagram group chat. That's all y'all got to do. Y'all can buy my card games. Y'all can send me a Cash App and all the other stuff, but this is free. All right. So I'll just drop the link in the chat and just click the link, and you'll then be in my Instagram group chat. And then I'll be able to drop all my content in there, and y'all will be able to get it before everybody else does. So everybody click the link. Everybody click the link. Everybody click the link. It's free. It's nothing, but we got what 580 people watching. Click the link. Click the link. Click the link. Do y'all see the link? Do y'all see the link? Click the blue link that says Instagram in the chat and just join my notification squad. Because it's 400 of y'all in here. Are y'all clicking the notification link? Do y'all see the link? Click the link. Yeah, click the link, y'all. Before we go, everybody, I'm about to go, but click the link before y'all go so y'all will be notified through Instagram. Do y'all see the link or do y'all not? I just want to make sure. Put a 1 in the chat if y'all don't click the link already. Put a 1 in the chat if y'all have already clicked the link. Yes, we see the link. Damn. You already in there, October 3074. But everybody click the link. Put a 1 in the chat if y'all can see the link. Click the link, click the link, click the link before y'all go. Click the link before y'all go. I dropped it in here again. Just click it. Click it, damn it. Wait, then try again. Okay, y'all see it? All right, so click the link and I'll play this commercial and I'll be out of here. Because I want y'all to click the link so y'all will know when I come back in.
How about we meet up at a coffee shop and play this fun dating card game? We'll have fun and see if we're compatible all at the same time.
Ooh, what's the name of the game?
It's called Deeper Discussions.
I'm down.
Okay, meet you at 6.
Fellas, buy this card game. Ladies, buy this card game. Buy about 2 or 3 card games. The main reason why people can't stay together isn't because they don't like each other no more. It's actually because their present family issues come up or their past family issues come up. But when you play Deeper Discussions, you'll be able to understand a person's family issues up front.
This game can be played with either 2 people or an entire group. So have fun.
Question number 1. Name a time when money was the main factor why a relationship went bad.
Deeper Discussions Dating Edition. Again, these cards are good for vetting a potential boyfriend, a potential girlfriend, a potential husband, a potential wife. The texture of these cards are so soft and silky, by the way. Like
they ain't gonna get
really
wore out.
Durable.
A dating card game for introverts who have a hard time asking the much needed compatibility questions. Deeper Discussions, the card game.
Hold on, I'm gonna leave y'all with something. If y'all want to hang out, I'm gonna leave y'all with something. Hold on a second. If y'all want to still hang out, y'all not ready to go, I'm gonna leave y'all with something. Some of y'all seen this before, but I'm gonna leave y'all with something.
How about we meet up at a coffee shop?
God damn it. Okay, here we go.
Content for 5 years. You guys.
All right, some of y'all seen this before, but I'm going to play this and y'all can enjoy this for those who have not seen this.
This story is the reason I stopped making content for 5 years. You guys remember when all those Vine stars and skit Instagrammers moved to LA in like 2015-ish? So I wasn't a huge creator at the time, but I was there and around it all as all of that stuff was happening. I moved from Chicago to LA 3 weeks after high school with like $2,000 in my pocket that I saved up working at Steak and Shake with this other aspiring creator named David. I was much more into editing and being behind the camera at that time, and he was much more into Vine and vlogs and being on camera. That time of our lives was absolutely crazy. Everybody was broke, posting anything we could onto YouTube to get some attention. I happened to get a spot at the now notorious 1600 Vine Apartments, and David got a spot a little bit closer to USC. Everyone was collaborating with everyone, and it was the era of clickbait YouTube. And to be honest, it was extremely fun for the first few months, until Hollywood started to notice that influence.
Oh, somebody asked what is the outcome? The actual outcome is Not guilty, not guilty, guilty. Hold on, let me tell you exactly what it is. Hold on a second. I'm gonna hang out for probably another 10 minutes, y'all. So the verdict is count 1, not guilty, count 2, not guilty, count 3, guilty, count 4, not guilty, count 5, guilty. And what the actual counts are that he's guilty is he is guilty on transportation of prostitution, and count 5, transportation to engage in prostitution. And that's it. So those are the counts.
With the next big thing, and that the landscape of the industry was changing, and we started to get invited to more exclusive parties and events where it seemed as if
Hold on, let me start this over. What's going on, Cookie?
this story is the reason I stopped making content for 5 years. You guys remember when all those Vine stars and skit Instagrammers moved to LA in like 2015-ish? So I wasn't a huge creator at the time, but I was there and around it all as all of that stuff was happening. I moved from Chicago to LA 3 weeks after high school with like $2,000 in my pocket that I saved up working at Steak and Shake with this other aspiring creator named David. I was much more into editing and being behind the camera at that time, and he was much more into Vine and vlogs and being on camera. That time of our lives was absolutely crazy. Everybody was broke, posting anything we could onto YouTube to get some attention. I happened to get a spot at the now notorious 1600 Vine Apartments, and David got a spot a little bit closer to USC. Everyone was collaborating with everyone, and it was the era of clickbait YouTube. And to be honest, it was extremely fun for the first few months, until Hollywood started to notice that influencers were the next big thing, and that the landscape of the industry was changing. And we started to get invited to more exclusive parties and events, where it seemed as if old Hollywood was almost grooming new Hollywood. And there was rumors of this one gathering that was happening on a monthly basis, where it seemed like anybody that got invited saw a massive jump in their numbers, secured huge brand deals right after attending. But apparently this gathering worked on a buddy system. Someone had to vouch for you and bring you as a guest. And by blind luck, me and David ended up getting invited. Some talent agents saw me and David shoot a silly skit at a random party. He didn't invite us that second, he just told us that he saw something special in us and took our contact information. And listen, people do that all the time in LA, but this guy had a different feel to him. He wasn't trying to convince us he had connections or hype himself up like everybody else does. He was just super calm and had a sharp way of speaking that demanded respect. He was extremely brief, and after getting our numbers, he just said, "Look out for the invite," and walked away. And this is where it gets weird. I never gave this guy my address, I only gave him my number. But I ended up getting an invitation by letter. And at the time, I thought that that was so cool. But in retrospect, as an adult, looking back at it, that alone was a huge violation of privacy and a major red flag. But at the time, when I tell you, I was absolutely buzzing with excitement. When I got it, the letter was so extravagant and detailed. It was gold with black and red lettering that read something like, "Your talents have been noted, your name has been endorsed, and I'll never forget this part. The dreams you've been chasing are a night away to the seventh heaven." And the address was a beautiful home in Laurel Canyon that was set to happen that weekend. It also noted to not be a minute late and not to expect to leave before midnight. And at the time, it felt like the Willy Wonka golden ticket. And the excitement doubled when I got a text from David at the same time, in all caps saying, "Did you get one too?" I felt like our lives were about to change. And I was right. David blew up after this party, and I had to go into hiding. And I was right. David blew up after this party, and I had to go into hiding. When I tell you I was on cloud 9 leading up to that party, I mean it. I was so young and naive and delusionally optimistic. I truly believed that I was going to go to this party and leave rich, because it literally seemed like that was happening to the creators around me that attended. I was hyped. I've never been a braggy person, but when you're young and excited, you get consumed by good news and want to talk to your friends and peers about it. So everybody that I chatted with who I knew was a content creator and was in the know about this party, I couldn't help but to tell them. And all the feedback was positive and along the lines of, "Let me know how it goes," or "Can you try to get me into the next one?" And even some from bigger creators saying, "I'll see you there," with like a little smirk on their face, like they were pumped for me. Except for one conversation with a creator that most of you probably know. This creator is an extremely positive guy, and he's one of the most wholesome, bubbly, genuine guys I met out there. And when I told him the good news, he looked at me like I told him a tsunami was headed towards the building. The usual joy that this man brought to every conversation turned into real fear and concern, and he made me leave the lobby and come up to his apartment before explaining anything to me. Like he was scared that somebody was going to overhear our conversation. When we got up to his apartment, he was just pacing, like he had no idea how to start this conversation. But when he finally spoke up, all he said was, "Listen, Doug, I know you're excited, but I'm begging you, please do not go. That man is not who you think he is." He was being so frantic, and I could see tears welling up in this guy's eyes. But I was young, and I thought that I knew everything. I didn't even think the talent agent that sent us the invite was important. I was interested in the connections, and I didn't really care if the talent agent was shady, or if his intention was to sign me to a bad deal. I thought I'd just say no to any bad contract that he tried to send me, but still get to reap all the benefits of the party. So I tried to pry a little bit and ask follow-up questions, but all he gave me was, "I have a friend who went, and he hasn't been the same since he didn't cooperate. I don't know what he saw or what they did to him, but Doug, I do not want to see that happen to you." I felt like our lives were about to change, and I was right. David blew up after this party, and I had to go into hiding. When I tell you I was on cloud 9 leading up to that party, I mean it. I was so young and naive and delusionally optimistic. I truly believed that I was going to go to this party and leave rich, because it literally seemed like that was happening to the creators around me that attended. I was hyped. I've never been a braggy person, but when you're young and excited, you get consumed by good news and want to talk to your friends and peers about it. So everybody that I chatted with who I knew was a content creator and was in the know about this party, I couldn't help but to tell them. And all the feedback was positive and along the lines of, let me know how it goes, or can you try to get me into the next one? And even some from bigger creators saying, I'll see you there, with like a little smirk on their face, like they were pumped for me. Except for one conversation with a creator that most of you probably know. This creator is an extremely positive guy, and he's one of the most wholesome, bubbly, genuine guys I met out there. And when I told him the good news, he looked at me like I told him a tsunami was headed towards the building. The usual joy that this man brought to every conversation turned into real fear and concern, and he made me leave the lobby and come up to his apartment before explaining anything to me. Like he was scared that somebody was gonna overhear our conversation. When we got up to his apartment, he was just pacing, like he had no idea how to start this conversation. But when he finally spoke up, all he said was, listen Doug, I know you're excited, but I'm begging you, please do not go. That man is not who you think he is. He was being so frantic, and I could see tears welling up in this guy's eyes. But I was young, and I thought that I knew everything. I didn't even think the talent agent that sent us the invite was important. I was interested in the connections, and I didn't really care if the talent agent was shady, or if his intention was to sign me to a bad deal. I thought I'd just say no to any bad contract that he'd try to send me, but still get to reap all the benefits of the party. So I tried to pry a little bit and ask follow-up questions, but all he gave me was, I have a friend who went, and he hasn't been the same since he didn't cooperate. I don't know what he saw or what they did to him, but Doug, I do not want to see that happen to you. I don't know what he saw or what they did to him, but Doug, I do not want to see that happen to you. I start reassuring him that they won't make me do anything that I don't want to do. I don't even drink, let alone take any party favors. So peer pressure isn't much of an issue for me. I make up a lie to get out of the situation, because to be honest, I selfishly wanted to stay excited about this party, and I really didn't want to hear anything negative about it. So I jokingly told him that I'd text him when I got home, and that I had to leave to edit some videos tonight. What I was really doing was calling my dad to beg him for $100 to buy a rental suit. Mind you, we were all still poor, and I was living in an apartment that I could barely afford. My dad reluctantly sent me the money, and I immediately texted David to pick me up tomorrow at 5 p.m. so we could both get our suits before the party, and grab food before we head to the party at 11. When David picked me up the next day, he was so excited and in such a great mood that I had to hide my concerns from him, at least while we were shopping for the rental suits. I had to manufacture excitement because David always has his camera out, and I wouldn't just be spoiling the mood, I would be ruining the content that he was trying to record. So I went along with it throughout the shopping process. Our plan was to drop his car off at my apartment, walk to the In-N-Out Burger on Sunset Boulevard, eat, and then change into our suits in the bathroom and hop into the Uber, so we didn't smell like burgers. When we finally sat down to eat, I took that opportunity to bring up the warning that my friend gave me the day before in his apartment. I told him everything that he said to me and how scared he looked when he said it, and that I was feeling a little bit worried about going to this party. David cut me off before I even got to finish my sentence and firmly said we're going, and then went on a rant about how my friend is a jealous clout chaser and that he's just salty that his content isn't good enough and would never be invited to something like this. He said it in a half serious, half joking tone like he always does when he wants to get his way. Then he finished off by guilting me and saying, Doug, don't ruin this opportunity for us. Please just get through this party for me. I'd never heard anybody talk about my friend that way, but I'd known David for so much longer, so I trusted his judgment. So I nodded my head and called the Uber. We changed in the bathrooms and hopped into the Uber, and David starts recording again, so I have to pretend to be excited again. But once we got off the side streets and started driving up Laurel Canyon, I started getting anxious and internally panicking. If you're not familiar with Laurel Canyon, it's filled with beautiful homes, but at night it's extremely dark and borderline freaky, especially when you consider all the history with the Manson murders in that area. Part of me feels like we're dropping ourselves off into a setup, but once we arrive, all of my worries get washed away. We pull into the driveway and this house is beautiful and extravagant, and everyone waiting in line to walk in is smiling and laughing and friendly. So I get excited again. At the door, they take our phones and have us sign an NDA, which isn't uncommon in house parties like this in LA. And they give us a mask and a name tag with funny aliases. My mask looked like a bear and David's looked like a bird. My alias was Stardust, which David got a crack out of, and his was Banshee. We enter what you could call like the lobby of the house, and as we're walking in, the apparent host of the party starts giving a speech. This man is very eccentric and outspoken, and he's got the cadence of a late night show host, and I spot the agent that invited us standing right behind him. The speech was basically just encouraging everybody to have fun and explaining the itinerary of the night. Apparently this was a themed room party, and all of the guests were instructed to move to the next room whenever the grandfather clock chimed. He wrapped up his speech with some cheeky joke, and then one line that still irks me to this day. He said, "Have fun now. Our descent starts at midnight." I tried to give David the eyes that I didn't like where this party was going. This type of behavior from people that I saw as adults made me extremely uncomfortable. The moment the host wrapped up his speech, a couple of workers came out of the doorway. They were holding a couple sets of long poles. All of a sudden, music started playing and everybody seemed like they knew what was going on. So I just went along with it. So I guess these parties start off with a big game of limbo. It's funny seeing people dressed so nicely playing a silly child's game, but it's even weirder seeing A-list celebrities being so excited to play. Because everybody had masks on, but when somebody that you grew up watching in movies walks by you with a quarter of their face covered, you still know it's them. I was amazed with how inviting and willing to introduce themselves these people were. I was expecting at least an undertone of uppityness in there, but it seemed like everybody was involving everybody in conversation, and they were frequently introducing themselves to me with their alias, of course. The only thing weird about it was something that I didn't notice until the third person did it. When they shook my hand, they pressed their thumb into the soft part between my thumb and my pointer finger, and I only recognized the pattern because the third guy gave me a big smile and said, "This must be your first time here." In retrospect, this should have alarmed me, but it seemed like they got friendlier when they realized that it was my first time here, so I didn't really think anything of it. But before I got to ask any follow-up questions about this odd handshake, the first grandfather clock chime went off, and everybody excitedly rushed into the second room. When I finally got in there, I was taken aback by the dramatic decor change. Everything in this room was different shades of blue. The music was romantic and all the furniture was cabana beds and love seats. I stood there for a second trying to realize what was different, but I couldn't put my finger on it until some girl walked by and caressed my shoulder in a really flirty manner. The decor changed, but the way everybody was acting was drastically different. Before, everybody seemed to be outgoing and inviting and friendly, but the second they stepped foot into this room, they became touchy, flirty, and suggestive. I was only 19 at the time, so this type of behavior from people that I saw as adults made me extremely uncomfortable, especially when I saw that the cabana beds had curtains that you could close for privacy. And I realized that these people weren't just being suggestive, they meant it. I tried to give David the eyes that I didn't like where this party was going, but he seemed to be really enjoying the female attention, so I was on my own. I basically stayed in perpetual motion and walked laps until the next chime went off, so I didn't have to sit next to anybody for too long and let them get too comfortable. The clock finally went off and everybody rushed to the next room immediately. The weirdest part was the people that were in the private sections didn't even bother redressing except for the mask. I was in no rush to get to the next room, but I could see into it over the crowd of everybody's head. The walls were bright orange, but the smells that were wafting in from that room were amazing. And when I finally got in there, it was like the Hogwarts feast. It was table after table of the most delicious spreads I've ever seen. There was full tables for seafood, full tables for meats, full tables of sushi, and an entire wall of spirits. I almost started enjoying myself again, until I saw the way these people were treating this food. They were disrespectfully biting chunks out of delicious prime rib roasts. They were just shoving copious amounts of high-grade sashimi into their mouths and eating caviar like it was cereal. The way that they were just grabbing with their hands and just spitting out things that they didn't like onto the floor ruined my appetite. At this point, I wanted nothing to do with these people. So I went up to the only familiar face in the room. The agent that invited me was the only other person not eating. So I approached him and lifted up my mask, so he'd recognize me considering we'd only met one time. Before I even got out my greeting or got my mask halfway off my face, he abruptly pressed my mask back into place and sharply said, "Mask stay on till the 6th room." He did it in a way that seemed like I was embarrassing him for not knowing the rules. So to ease the tension, I jokingly replied, "So we're only halfway there, huh?" He didn't laugh or make eye contact. He just dismissively replied, "I encourage you to engage in the festivities. A slow drip is better than a flood." He started to walk towards the door as the clock chimed for the next room, like he knew it was about to go off. I didn't like that interaction at all. He's the one that invited me here, and he seemed to have no interest in talking to me. I just kept going over what he said the entire time while we were in the next room. This room was yellow and basically just a casino. I wanted to talk to David privately and let him know that I wanted to leave, but he seemed to just be caught up in the momentum of the party. Plus, there was a roulette table in the room, and David's freakishly good at roulette. So at this point, the winning streak that he's building is the center point of the party. I can't fully focus on what the agent said to me because I have to pretend to be excited about David's winning streak in a fake casino where you're not actually winning money. And like clockwork, the chime goes off. The entire party starts rushing to the next room again, and the vibe changes dramatically. I'm the last person to walk into the bright red room. This room didn't seem to have a specific activity like the others. It was just empty and bright red, and everybody was whispering to each other. For a split second, I thought it might be a big game of telephone or something silly like that, but as I started walking through and brushing shoulders with these people and hearing what they were saying to each other, I started questioning everything. The same people that I saw laughing and celebrating and eating together were whispering the most heinous, offensive comments directly to each other. I mean things that you wouldn't even say behind your friend's back, they were saying it to their face. I'm talking friendship-ending secrets and personal opinions about each other laced with envy and jealousy. I hurried to a quiet corner because I was sick of hearing everybody's dirty laundry laundry after walking around for a minute and a half. And it all clicked. I knew exactly what this party was. I see the host ask the first person in line a question before having them repeat something that he said. When I tell you I am done with this party, I'm absolutely not doing that. All the dots start connecting in my head while everybody's being horrible to each other around me. I'm trying to recap the whole night and remember the order of each room to solidify my suspicions. But the chime for the next room goes off. This time, everybody gets eerily quiet and calm, like they got all of their venom out. The host of the party announces for all of the newcomers to come to the front. All of the attendees form a single file line in front of the next room's door. There's about 10 other newcomers in front of me and David, and the agent that invited us is standing to the left of the door, and the host of the party is standing to the right. The host has a pile of books on the table next to him. I see the host ask the first person in line a question and then grab a book based on his answer. He would present the book to the person and place a diamond-shaped metal symbol on top of it before having them repeat something that he said. Then he'd take their mask off and let them enter the next room. I couldn't make out exactly what he was doing until there was only 2 people ahead of me in line. The books were Bibles, Qurans, Torahs, and so on. He would ask the person, "And which one is yours?" Whichever they chose, he'd grab it and place the metal symbol on top of it. He'd have you put your hand on top of the metal symbol and then repeat, "I am my own God, I bow to nobody but myself." When I tell you I am done with this party, and I whip my head around and I tell David I am absolutely not doing that. David whispered back in a joking tone like he always does, "Dude, it's just a party, who cares, I'll see you in the next room." And he skipped me in line to show me that he'd do it first to make me feel more comfortable. He went through with it and giggled his way into the next room. It was my turn, so I tried to play it cool and whisper to the host, "Do you mind if I skip this part? It's making me a little bit uncomfortable." I thought he'd subtly break character and reassure me that this is just a party theme and it's all good. Instead, he whispered back to me in a really kind tone, "Of course, man, don't worry about it. Just take your mask off and turn around." I was relieved for about a split second before the agent that invited me here grabbed my arm and started guiding me towards the exit. And I see that everybody that was behind me in line staring at me straight-faced. I look back at the host and he's standing up and loudly shouts like he's starting a chant, "The price was not paid." And then everybody in line that was staring at me chants in unison like they knew exactly what to do. "Remove the profane." And they repeat it over and over until I'm through the exit door. "The price was not paid. Remove the profane. The price was not paid. Remove the profane." I just start panicking. Now I know for sure Joe isn't safe either. The whole intent of this party was to butter me up to get me to do these horrible things. So the agent just walks me to the closest door. He doesn't even walk me to the front of the party and out the front door. He just puts me out into the backyard. It's 4 a.m. My friend's still inside. I don't have my phone. So I decide to walk around the right side of the house because that's where all of the party attendees were kind of headed. Let me see if I could peek in and maybe flag down David to let him know I got kicked out. And there's some windows to the next room. But of course these windows are like big church stained glass windows. And you can't really see through stained glass windows like the colored ones. But if you go really, really close and you look through the white parts, you could kind of see clearly what is on the inside. And this room is like a bizarre church replica without all of the seating. It's just a big church-like room. And all of the people that were in there had their masks off. And it was like a big circle and almost looked like an initiation. And all of these celebrities are standing around in a circle around the other 9 new people. It was 10 excluding me. And there was big TV grade cameras recording, and it looked like the group of celebrities and everybody else that was there was kind of cheering them on. But then there was clearly people in there that were much more serious and kind of threatening, and the 10 new people were in the middle of this room being forced to do horrible things that I wish I could unsee. And the new people clearly didn't want to do these things. They were being forced to do these things, and they were clearly
Thank you so much, Cookie Crunch. I appreciate you.
Recording it, and I see my friend being forced to do these horrible things in front of these people and in front of these cameras. I just start panicking. I don't know what to do. So in my head, I'm like, I just need to get out of here. So I start speed walking to the front of the house, and I'm thinking I need to get out of this gate. There's only one street. We're on Laurel Canyon, so it's either I go left and start running towards Studio City, or I go right and start running towards West Hollywood. I'm not about to go knock on other people's doors. I'm just trying to get back to like civilization, and I'm trying to remember if we're closer to Studio City or if we're closer to West Hollywood. I don't even know. As I get to the front of the house, one of the employees is standing there, and he's standing in front of a car, and he has my phone. I'm not sure if he knows that I just saw everything, so I'm kind of standing there deer in headlights, but he just politely goes, "Here's your phone and here's your ride. Don't worry, the driver will take you home." So I take my phone and I sit in the car, and I'm trying to gauge to see if this driver has any malicious intent, but he doesn't seem to. And within the first 3 minutes, I know that they don't think I saw anything. They were just getting my stuff prepared and my car prepared to take me home, because they're under the impression that I didn't see anything too bad, and I got kicked out before any horrible things started happening to people inside of this party. So I get in the car and I'm checking my phone. My phone was fully charged when I got here, so I don't know what they did, but my phone won't turn on. I have to sit through this 30-minute car ride. One of my best friends is back back at this party getting mistreated and recorded doing horrible things, and I can't tell anybody. So I get through this 30-minute horrible, suspense-filled car ride thinking about all of the people that were so nice to me inside of this party, and the whole intent of this party was to butter me up to get me to do these horrible things. And when I finally get back to my apartment, I run upstairs, I plug my phone into the charger, and the first texts that come through are from my friend Joe. And I completely forgot that my friend Joe was coming to visit me. He was coming on a little mini vacation, and I was going to play tour guide and show him around the city. So now I'm thinking I only have like 4.5 hours to sleep before I have to go pick up my friend from the airport, and I still don't know if my other friend is okay. So I'm blowing up David's phone because he's still at this party, but I set a timer so I get to the airport to pick up my other friend. So I barely get any sleep. I drive to LAX to go pick up Joe, and I drive him back to my apartment. And when I'm coming back into my apartment, David's in the lobby and he's talking to some other big creators, like bouncing video ideas. It's like 9:30, 10 a.m. at this point, so everybody's just kind of having coffee by the cafe and chatting. I tell Joe to go upstairs to my apartment and drop off his luggage, and I go ask David if I could talk to him really quick. I'm clearly very distressed, and he's being very jokey with me, and he doesn't seem like anything bad happened, and he's just kind of making fun of me for getting kicked out of the party. I'm just letting him talk for a little bit, and I finally tell him I was looking in through the next window. I saw what they made him do, and I was just asking him if he's okay. And the second I said that, he immediately switched on me, and he started damn near cussing me out and saying friendship ending things, and his eyes turned from happy and giddy to filled with almost fear and a little bit of betrayal. When he stormed off, he pulled out his phone and he was calling somebody as if he was like reporting something back to them. I immediately start freaking out. I assume that he's telling me that I saw what they did, and now I have my friend upstairs who thinks he's just on vacation when I just saw hyper successful rich people doing unspeakable acts, and they have all of the resources to come after me. They know where I live, and David isn't even on my side because the dirt that they have on him now. I have to pretend that everything's okay to Joe because he flew all the way out here for a vacation, and I don't even really know how bad the situation is. I don't even know how to tell him about everything that happened the night before. And I promised Joe that we were going to go to Runyon Canyon this morning, so he goes and changes into hiking gear, and I drive him over to Runyon Canyon. We do the hike for a few hours, and when we come back and I check my mail, there's another letter from these people, and I take it to the bathroom because I don't even want Joe to see it, and it's a screenshot of the surveillance footage of me looking in through the window and a little handwritten note, just a reminder of the worst mistake you've ever made. Curiosity killed the cat. And I start freaking out. I know that David just betrayed me and told them that I saw, and now they have proof that I saw. Now I'm just a walking liability to them, and now they're threatening me, and that was the worst mistake that I've ever made, and insinuating that curiosity killed the cat. I'm the cat, but it's still not enough to tell Joe about what happened. So I just go on with this charade, and I'm just playing tourist, bringing my friend around the city, and the first day nothing happened. And to this day, I firmly believe that the only reason they didn't do anything to me is because Joe was there with me that whole week, and he had just finished the police academy, and he was officially a police officer. So I think me being with him is the only thing that kept me safe, because they weren't willing to do anything to a police officer. And I knew for sure they were keeping an eye on me the next day, because Joe asked me the night before if I had half and half for our coffees the next morning, and I didn't have any half and half, and he just jokingly said, who has coffee and doesn't have half and half? It was a conversation in passing, it was a joke, and the next morning we woke up and there was a full half and half in my fridge. And the only reason I noticed that is because Joe said, thanks for running out early and grabbing half and half, you didn't have to do that. I was kidding. I didn't go and grab that half and half. I knew that somebody was not only listening but entered my apartment that night while we were sleeping. And then they started to do these things that only I would notice, things that if you told anybody, they would look at you like you were crazy. Each night that we came home and we were just winding down and watching TV, I would go to turn my TV on and the remote control wouldn't work, and I would check the batteries, and the batteries would be switched from positive to negative and negative to positive, like they came into my house and just flipped my batteries. I know that my remote control worked the day before, and they just needed me to know that they were in my house and flipped my batteries, just to let me know that they were invading my privacy on a daily basis. And then it started escalating to when I would take Joe to lunch, or we would pop to the grocery store, or we would go to the movies, and we would come back to the car and my left blinker would be on. They would just open my car and put it down, and every time we would come back to the car, my left turning signal would be on. It happened like 6 times. How can I tell anybody that somebody broke into my car and turned my left signal down? It's something that only I would notice. And I can't tell Joe because I'm not trying to scare him, and it's also something that I don't even think he would take seriously. He would probably say, you probably hit it down when you were stepping out of the car. And then things started to pick up. They started to do very specific things to me that weren't just by chance. We came home one day and I locked the door behind me like I was doing every time because I was super paranoid. My apartment door lock just locked swiftly. My apartment door lock doesn't doesn't lock swiftly. I would have to like press into it and jiggle it and force it to lock. And it's been like that since I moved in. And it had this sharp little nub on the front that I would feel with my thumb every single day. And one of the days we came home and it just smoothly locked and the nub wasn't there. So they were letting me know that I can't even lock them out. But how do I tell anybody that they're doing this to me? Because they would just say the apartment was probably aware of it and changed it. And I still wasn't able to tell Joe because I would think that he would come to the same conclusion. But then the next day we go to the car to go to breakfast and we get into my old car that I've had for 5 or 6 years at the time. And I grab my gear shifter and I go to pull it into reverse and it smoothly goes from park to reverse. And my gear shifter doesn't smoothly go from park to reverse. You have to wiggle it in a certain way. You have to press the button with your thumb in a certain way to get it into reverse. I only know this because I drove this car every single day for 5 years and this gear shifter is pretty much broken. It's an old car. And that morning I got into my car and it smoothly went from park to reverse and the wooden finish on the gear shifter was different. Mine had scratches on it and this one was brand new. So they were telling me not only are they able to just break into my car and turn the left signal down, they're also willing to manipulate my car. Now I know for sure Joe isn't safe either, and me not telling him these things puts him into danger because I'm driving him around in this car. And if they could change my gear shifter, why wouldn't they be able to cut my brakes? So I basically just break down and I have to tell Joe everything from start to finish about this weird party with this weird agent and the little things that I've been noticing all week, and that this was the last straw. And Joe believed me because we used to drive around in my car together all of the time, and sometimes he would drive my car. And he made me promise that I did not get that fixed. The gear shifter was still broken yesterday and it's fixed today, and I didn't do that. So that won him over, and he basically said, we need to get out of here. It shook him too. He didn't like the idea of these people in the house. When I told him I didn't get the half and half, when I told him all of these things that were adding up over the last couple days, it freaked him out. And he's like, bro, we got to go back to your apartment. We got to get your stuff. We got to get you out of here. Then my entire world is shattering. I moved out here and all of these things were going great for me, and I had a place and I had friends and I didn't want to leave. Maybe the stuff will die out. I'll be able to work with other people. It's going to be okay. I don't want to just leave my apartment, leave all my stuff. But Joe insisted that we went back to my apartment to grab his stuff and mine and then go stay at a motel before he leaves the next day. And when we got to my apartment, David was in the lobby with other creators by the cafe again, and I went up to him. I didn't really have any idea about what I was going to say to him. All he did was hand me a coffee, ignore everything that I said, and walk away. But then when I looked at the coffee, it had a little napkin wrapped around it. I saw that something was written in Sharpie on the napkin. It said, I'm so sorry. You have to leave tomorrow with him. Otherwise, it's me and you. And I went upstairs and I packed a couple backpacks and I left LA the next morning with my friend, and I never went back.